It is Wednesday, my dudes.
This is how I win.
This is no democracy. It is a dictatorship.
Hate. Double hate.
Load entirely.
You're out of order! You're out of order! Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
We're back, part 2, 2025. My creative director instilled that we do 2 of these, so we're here doing 2 of these. We are doing best of 2020s. That will be the next one. Again, don't tell me you just want to be on the show. I need a list. It's pointless for me. Now that I've commented on everybody sent me a list, and I appreciate that. If you still want to be on, I don't care if you were on this one and that one's coming up. Submit a list. I'm fine with that. I'd rather have participation, and we will do what's what I'm looking for. I just am gonna do the same thing as I've done with these. I'm gonna put everybody in the green room. I'm gonna break them apart, and I'm gonna schedule a date that works for everybody instead of just doing a particular live show. I will try to do maybe separate by weeks, not do the same the same week for my benefits and my marriage. Stuff on the channel coming up. I'm always like, you're doing something on a Saturday? I'm like, yeah, and it's YLS. She's like, great. We are also, Monday is Last One Standing Brawl. It is coming out on the channel. Tomorrow we're doing the Oscar show where we're doing 1957. So a group of panelists were there, nominate the stuff for 1957. I had a lot of shit come up this week. And then I have like, I'm going to be on this channel for like 4 days in a row. It's going to be disgusting and I hate myself for it, but it's okay.
It's like the old one.
Yeah. COVID's back without the death. I'm just here. Also YLS against COVID, 100%. War and COVID. I rule both of those out. But we are here talking about best of 2025. Will there be overlap from last week's this earlier week? Sure, but maybe different opinions, maybe some angry takes. I don't know what we're going to get, but we got Cohill here, so his takes are going to be horrible, and he's going to yell at people for random shit, and that mustache is getting thicker. How are you doing?
Good. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I have lost my job. I no longer get to run clips. I am unfortunately here handcuffed.
I got fired from
I was worried.
That's crazy,
No, I'm not,
brother.
No. But no, I am fired as my job of producer. Unfortunately, I'm very sad. But I'm glad to be here.
Clips work, but on this kind of show, it does not work. And then when you get to personally use them and the rest of them don't, that just seems like an unfair advantage. But next up, Scott. Scott, how are you? And how do you think you'll do on the list?
I don't know. I'm not trying to win. I've told you that, Cody. I made some changes to my list just so I could talk about movies that are not probably going to be talked about anywhere else. Because that's why I want to do this, not to win. I have won before. I have lost horribly before. I'll probably come down somewhere in the middle. And I just want to get ahead of this and let everyone know, because everyone's asking after they see my list. But I have not seen the film Ella McKay. So that is why it is not on my list. But thank you.
Perfect. I was going to ask that question, and thanks for catching it off guard.
That's a yikes.
Next up, Paul, how are you? How do you think you'll do?
I'm good. I never know how I'll do because I feel like oftentimes I think I'm going to do horribly, and then Cody surprisingly likes the movies that I bring to the table. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic. And if Koho wants to play clips, I'll just play it really loud off my phone obnoxiously and hold it up to the camera, and it'll be great. But no, thanks for accommodating my schedule in particular. And I'm excited to talk about movies with these guys.
Yeah, and last but not least, Rue, how are you? How do you think you'll do on tonight's list?
I was going to say, I don't think I have like my TNT TBS list going this time. And then I looked at my list. I was like, actually, a couple of them will probably be in there a couple of years. I love my list. I don't know if I did it to the extent Scott did, but I definitely moved my actual 10 off of this so I could talk about a different 10 because I think this is a stacked year. And I'm pretty sure my other 10, my actual 10 is going to be talked about today. So
I have done my best to watch everything. One movie on one person's list I have access to. I did not get a chance to watch it. Everything else just didn't come to me yet. So when a certain movie by a certain like Safdie comes up, I will be doing the same thing of muting and walking and just you flag me down when I can come back because of the movies everybody tells me about, it's the one I would like the most, and I haven't been able to see it, and I know nothing about it at this point. I've kept away from everything possible, so I want to save that. I'll let you guys rip each other or talk about it or praise about it how much you want. And the other one is $1 billion global thing that I have not seen, but I also haven't seen the second one, so I don't really give a shit about that either. So we'll talk about that when I actually get around from it.
Wow,
but
someone did have Zootopia too. All right.
yes,
Not just chance.
Not just chance. If you need to see a clip that's all timer, go back to watch that episode and watch him say Zootopia 2 and watch Aaron J's face. It is absolutely priceless. He thought it was a joke and it was real. Which again, it's a good movie. I just think he did not expect it.
We were very close to talking about it 2 weeks in a row. I'll tell you that.
Oh, hey, I liked it. I sat there in the theater and was like, why am I enjoying this way more than the first? Well, definitely way more than the first one. But why did I enjoy this one? And then, yeah. All right, Coho, you're gonna start it off. What's your 10-9-8?
Oh wait, so number 10 is Avatar: Fire and Ash. Number 9, One Battle After Another.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What?
Crazy. Number 8, Nuremberg, baby.
Jesus Christ.
Let's do it. Okay. I'm glad none of you fuckers get to talk about number 8. Anyway, Avatar: Fire and Ash is my favorite of the Avatars. I really, really liked it. I love the new things that James Cameron added to it this time, and what the things he brought back from The Way of Water. I think he did just as good. So I think it was overall a net positive. Just kept moving the franchise forward from the last one, which I loved a lot. So Una Chaplin, Barang, and the Ash people, like the coolest things I've seen this year. So loved it. My 9 got yikes. So Nuremberg, a movie that I totally didn't expect to like that much going in, and walked out really surprised by how much it stuck with me, how much I enjoyed watching it. I've gone back to it again since. I think Russell Crowe's really great in it. One of the best performances I think he's given in a very long time. I thought he was really captivating. I think it's one of the better uses of Rami Malek. He gets to be an asshole for like 2 hours, which just kind of works really well for him. But I think the overall cast was really good, and I think that script. I like James Vanderbilt as a writer a lot. I think he did a really good job with the script, and I think he directed it better than I expected. So, one of my unexpected favorites of the year.
Fire and Ash, nope, still haven't seen Way of Water, don't really care that much. I bet it's great, but it's 3+ hours, and I couldn't give a shit about the first one, so I don't know why I would be sold on the other two, but one day I'll get to it, I promise. Maybe not. Nuremberg. I mean, I'm a sucker for a fucking courtroom movie. I felt like this was just right up my alley. I do think Russell Crowe was the best he's been in a really long time. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if Rami Malek is like good. I think he's standing amongst a lot of like some really good characters in that, so he's able to portray. I also just find it Nuremberg fascinating. It's just like one of the things that I think is like one of those things of history that I think is really interesting. So put it on screen, I was going to be sold on it regardless. So yeah, not a bad start. Well, kind of a bad start, but I didn't see one of them, so I can't really say much. Scott, did we move this right? Paul was next. Scott was last. Okay, sorry. We're good. Paul, what is your 10-9-8?
Okay, so my number 10 is All That's Left of You. My number 9 is Kelly Reichardt's The Mastermind.
Yikes.
And my number 8 is Ephus, which I changed my camera angle so as to not reveal too early. So All That's Left of You is a multi-generational story about a Palestinian family that's kind of centered on a teenage son that gets involved with some protests and essentially the story before and after of how the family got to this point and what happens to them after. It's an incredibly moving, like really epic scale drama about this family through this time and having to move in and out of where they're from and trying to return to it and how much it's changed. And it's just a very beautiful, moving story. I don't know that it's really super available yet, but it's really incredibly moving film. Would highly recommend it to anybody. Just really incredibly well acted and written, and it just all comes together in a very moving and pretty amazing way. My 9 was Yikes, and so my number 8 is Ephus, which was a sort of last minute change on my part. But it's just a movie to me that captures a kind of feeling that I think is really potent, and that's the almost like dissipation of some social activities amongst people, especially adults. And like as you get older, how difficult it is to maintain friends, especially like somewhat casual friends, as you go through different phases of life. And it's about these men who come and put on this adult baseball game, and the field is being converted, funnily enough, into a school. So it's not like it's some evil corporation coming in to destroy them, but it really magically captures that desire to keep playing and to stay together and to have something to connect us, even with people who we maybe don't even get along with on such a deep level as individuals. But it's just beautiful. And the last 30 minutes in particular, some of the most beautiful photography in any movie this year, like the way it captures that kind of like dusk in New England is just really beautiful and moving. And it's a great ensemble, so many great memorable characters, an incredible cameo from like Frederick Wiseman, maybe the greatest documentarian that we've ever had. But just a great movie about not baseball as a sport, but baseball as an activity, as a hobby, as a way of bringing people together. And I just think it's weirdly and pretty amazingly profound. So a great debut by Carson Lund.
So I lied up front. 2 movies. This one I don't have access to. I could not find it.
Yeah.
So
it's not on VOD yet. I watched it through a screener, so it's it's not out.
So I haven't seen it. So that was one. Yeah, fantastic movie. This is. I think you were the one to mention it to me well before we like even this. I even did this episode. I was looking for it, and I mean it's absolutely just a perfect like baseball hangout like movie with aging through life, and all of them just continue to get together and do it. Joe Caglio or whatever. I can't ever pronounce his last name, but he was the radio host of the Red Sox for decades, and he's in this movie. He's
Castiglione, right? I think it's
Castiglione. Yes.
Yeah.
He's just that voice just will instantly bring me into like nostalgia mode. Hearing it, so it's just absolutely just like it's not. There's not like exciting moments, or it's just a great, just chill, enjoyable movie. So I definitely recommend everybody checking it out, especially if like baseball movies. Like it's just, I think it's right up there as one of the fun ones just to chill out and watch. Surprised somebody else didn't have it on the list, but apparently they don't like baseball. It's fine, no big deal. Next up, Rue. What's your 10, 9, 8?
All right, so my 10 is Little Amelie, or the character of Rain. My number 9 is Wake Up Dead Man.
Yikes.
And my number 8 is Marty Supreme.
Yikes.
All right, you get Chuck ones.
All right, cool. This is my choice for Best Animated Film of the Year. It is visually and structurally just a beautiful, beautiful film. But it had the most random 2 things coming to my head that I always like pondered about. One, God, the interest of God, the existence of God, and the opening of the film. Kind of, you'll see the random part. It introduces why that made me think of that. But I'm gonna say this. Please do not be turned off by this. What I'm about to say. It also made me think about the movie Baby Geniuses, because it's about the inner thoughts of babies before they become conscious of them becoming adults. And they actually do an amazing version of that concept in this movie. You're basically seeing the entire movie through the eyes of a toddler who does not speak for a very long time, in like 2 to 3 years. And then once she starts talking, you start seeing what it is before that and what it is after that. And then just how you look at life through that lens, how you look at other people, and what it is to like really understand yourself, understand others. And similar to Arco this year, it uses a lot of watercolors and stuff to kind of like, it reminded me also of Across the Spider-Verse in Gwen Stacy's world. Again, it is a beautiful, tight 90 minutes that might make you cry, definitely make you laugh, and make you ponder about just life in general. I absolutely love it.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen this. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was kind of a mixture in the middle. I mean, maybe following a toddler was just not my speed. I think there's a few times too. I think it's emotionally manipulative a little bit in my eyes, like trying to draw that emotion out of you, which is good, but also like
I wonder if that'll be a theme today.
one of those things. I do agree with you. It's very beautiful. I didn't get the baby genius thing until you just said it, so that's another wrinkle that you could have thrown in there. But yeah, it's not a bad. Like I put it on. I put it on, and it was quick. I think it's even shorter than 90 minutes. I think.
It's like 70 minutes or something. It's really quick.
Yeah, it was a real quick watch, so didn't make me hate my life. So no, but I think it's a really good one. I don't know if it's the best. I don't know if it's best animated because I don't know. What's up there? I don't know. I watched K-pop Demon Hunters too this week. So
Rue don't watch anime, so maybe if he did, he would know what's up.
I did. I've seen Demon Slayer. I love that movie. I just didn't have
K-pop,
it. And I saw K-pop too, and I had Zootopia 2 at number 10 before I switched it. So, Chance, I'm with you, fam.
All right, Scott, what you got?
All right, yeah, 10 and 9 specifically were the ones that I switched out. My top 8 is my top 8, just to follow up on that. But number 10, I have the documentary Cover Up. Number 9, Jay Kelly. And number 8, still yikes, Wake Up Dead Man.
Yikes.
What?
Cover Up is a documentary. It's on Netflix, so anyone can watch it. It's directed by Mark Obenhaus, and one of the last people still fighting the good fight in this godforsaken world, Laura Poitras, who is the director of Citizen4 and All the Beauty and the Bloodshed before this. And this kind of follows along the same through line of it's a movie about a contemporary American hero who you're not going to hear talked about as frequently as other people, who are assigned that title, because what they're doing is very controversial. And in the case of the subject of this documentary, the journalist Seymour Hersh, he is standing up to the government. He becomes famous for basically blowing the whistle on these war crimes being committed by U.S. soldiers during the Vietnam War. And the fact that he just reports on that in an unflinching way and doesn't give in to government intimidation. I mean, there's crazy clips in the movie where like Richard Nixon is in the Oval Office calling this guy a son of a bitch, basically. And he just, just keeps trucking, and he's still working today. He's like in his late 70s or 80s now, and he's still basically doing the same thing. So it's a really important film, I think, in a year when there was a lot of commentary about, what is patriotism? To love America, do you have to love your government? The answer is obviously no. And I think these documentaries that Poitras has made, including this one, has shown 88 years old. Yeah, that's crazy. Have shown that, in fact, sometimes the people who care the most about America and what it stands for are the ones who are not afraid to stand up and point and say, hey, something wrong is going on here. I see that, and I'm going to do what I can in my power to stop that. So powerful, important documentary. Cover Up. Number 9, Jay Kelly. Yeah, again, I understand. It's not on anyone else's list. You got to say it like how they say it in the movie, Jay Kelly. Neither was White Noise. I'm just so in the bag for Noah Baumbach at this point. White Noise was on my list, obviously, back then, but I'm so in the bag for Noah Baumbach. I still really enjoyed this. I found it a very bittersweet movie about this actor played by George Clooney who is confronting the fact that he is aging and what it means for his career and also the sacrifices he's made in his personal life. You know, the expenses he's made to have a successful career. I think George Clooney's giving a good performance. It's really kind of a courageous role to take because he's really putting himself up to the microscope, and you know, everyone will be examining the meta textual elements of this movie. Right at the very end, it gets very literal in a way that, again, won't work for a lot of people. It worked for me. I found the last line read that he has in this movie actually quite moving. But it's a funny movie. Baumbach's a funny writer. And there's just a lot of scenes that were memorable to me. I really love the scene where Jay boards the better than Babylon ending. Jay boards the train in Italy with a bunch of regular people who, because he had to jump on at the last minute, and he ends up having to interact with all these average people who obviously know, you know, what who he is. And yes, supporting cast is great, but especially Adam Sandler, he's best supporting actor for me this year. Yeah, he cooks in these dramatic roles, and I loved his interplay with Clooney in this. So, Jay Kelly.
You are
Cody, you're muted.
Well, it'll happen a few more times. Cover Up was fantastic. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I didn't know much about any of it leading into it, so it was really a surprise for me. Really happy it was on Netflix too. I was like trying to hunt down all these movies. I was like, oh, really accessible one. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's a fascinating story that they tell. It's quick too. It's not super long. I mean, it flies for me. I thought it was a really quick watch. Jay Kelly, George Clooney plays George Clooney. I know what everybody. I just, not for me. Not a vibe that I can get. I just don't care like at all. I like Noah Baumbach for the most part. I just didn't dig this movie as much as I wanted to. I'm not surprised at all. It was popular in the community. I figured it would. But yeah, it's just kind of bland for me. Not really. I think there's great performances around it. I just don't think Clooney's that great in it, and I think that I might be in the minority for that, but that's just my thought. I think he's surrounded by a lot of good actors in that. Okay. We're going to start at the sevens and move on. I'm switching some things real quick before we go. Okay, Coho, what's your 7?
My number 7 is The Secret Agent.
Yikes.
Okay.
My number 6, we're going to follow a trend. It Was Just an Accident.
Exact same, I think.
Same.
I think I have it at 6 as well.
Yeah, so you both can discuss it now, so that's fine.
Awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Taylor.
I had a really interesting viewing experience of this movie. I saw it while I was down in Iowa, and the theater that we saw it in, they basically like converted the upstairs office room into like a mini little like viewing room theater. So I sat down in this really crowded room with like the lights off, watching this basically on like a little projector screen. And I don't know why it did, but it made the movie even like better in a weird way. Like that, it like added to the feeling of like being in a really uncomfortable space watching a movie that was really tense. So I really liked the experience of it. But I think the cast all the way through, it took like a minute for me to really clock what was happening in the first like I'd say 10, 15 minutes of the movie until like the main character actually kind of verbalizes the thing to the guy. You're like, oh, now I'm following. But like I think from there for me, it like just put the pedal to the ground, like all the way to the floor, and was just intense all the way through. I think the final sort of like the big scene is really, really good. I was sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time, and the ending, I think I've never been more unsettled by an ending. That was just one of those like ones where I was like sitting there like I couldn't breathe until the movie cut to black. So great movie. It kind of flows in the vein to me of Seed of the Sacred Fig last year for like obvious reasons, I guess. But like I think specifically the themes that both directors were trying to get at, that Ras and Panahi are talking about, the things going on in Iran, really hit. So I think but I like how Panahi attacked it in a totally different way with a totally different story, and it worked extremely well for me. It went by super fast too. But I loved all the actors in it. Like I didn't remember bring up names, but they're all really great, especially the bride in this. She's very good.
Yeah, it's great. So I've seen a couple of Jafar Panahi films. I'm not like an expert on his filmography necessarily, but I was excited when I started to hear kind of early word about this movie being a more conventionally made film, because his other movies are very much like metatextual explorations of what making a film is, and especially under the conditions that he makes his movies in. Obviously, he's constantly under house arrest in Iran. But this movie very much is in the vein of a lot of the Iranian New Wave, especially the recent movements of like basically movies with incredible social dilemmas, where it's like, if you're in this, it's a great like what would you do in this situation movie, because you see exactly why the characters are motivated to do what they do. And like Coho said, it leads you in an interesting way where you kind of think, not to give too much away, but you think someone's going to be kind of the protagonist, and then that kind of changes your perspective on the rest of the movie, and it takes you a while to like reorient yourself into kind of following who you're actually following. I actually thought that Mariam Afshari, who plays Shiva, the photographer, was my favorite part of the movie. I think she's incredible in her back and forth and her different relationships with the different characters that you see her interact with. It's an incredibly important sound design movie, because like those sounds, especially the ones that happen to recur, become incredibly important as the movie goes along. I think in particular, the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie are unbelievable and like make the whole thing kind of elevate to this new level. There's like a very static shot that stays for a long time that gave me chills. And like, that's kind of the centerpiece backbone of the movie. Obviously has a great ending too that people talk about a lot. But I think that's the scene I most want to highlight. But it's just incredibly fascinating because you don't know how you feel about it until you kind of get to a certain point, because the movie has almost wrong-footed you in a way that I think is really, really pretty amazing. So just a really great movie, great thriller, and like really faces you with these moral dilemmas of like what you would do if you were someone who faced this kind of injustice. And it's injustice you don't get to see as a viewer, so it's harder for you to click in with what they're talking about. But then as it goes along, you kind of follow them more. But yeah, it's a really, really great movie.
Just to answer your question, you are able to spoil whatever. If you haven't seen it, step away or stop watching. I'm gonna go too. I feel like this was my best year ever of movies. Like I have 25 in my top 25. I have 4 foreign films, which is like newfound growth for me. This is up 14 for me. I think this movie is absolutely fantastic. I didn't get to, of course, I didn't get to see it in theaters or anything, but like I feel like it is such an interesting concept of a movie. Like to feel like you're completely in the right or justified to do the act that you feel thrust upon, but then with the moral dilemma, if you do said task, are you any different than them? And like that moral compass, and to deliver it in such a way that, because again, if he did what he did, would anybody fault him really for it at that point? Like, if they describe what he went through. So I think it's a very fascinating film. And again, I have the attention span of a gnat, and it hooked me from beginning to end. I was all the way in. I think this movie could easily grow, like be better once I can, because there are probably some things I missed in the first watch that I would pick up on the second watch. So yeah, I
didn't realize the sound in the beginning until I was thinking about it afterwards. Like when they're in the garage, I did not pay attention to that part of it whatsoever. And I only realized later, I was like, oh shit, that's why he was reacting the way he's reacting.
Yeah. And I think some films like get this thing like the last scene is so whatever. I truly 100% mean the last 20 minutes of this movie are up there. Some of my is insane. I think it's a great choice and great sound design on the choices. Did everybody else see this?
Well, it sounds like Coho got to see it at the Sundance Film Festival based on the screening situation. So happy for him.
Oh yeah, made it. Yeah, Iowa, new home.
I didn't make your list if you saw it or if not. What's your thoughts on it? Go ahead.
For me, it's again stacked here. There are a lot of movies that my top list are a mix of favorite and best. Like I would probably say It Was Just an Accident is better than Little Emily, but I love Little Emily when I watched it. So, and again, there's a whole lot of movies. International films this year was crazy good. Two things I'll say. One, again, random, and to me, Shiva reminds me so much of my mom, and it was a trip because my mom passed when I was like 12. So when I saw her, I was like, oh shit. And she was, I just gravitated towards her. And this is a slightly spoilery. You really go away if you want to experience this movie in the fully. I have never been pissed off at a cliffhanger before. Like, I'm good with cliffhangers, but I straight up said, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" When this movie ended on that.
That's the whole point. That's the
It's
whole
great.
point.
It is absolutely amazing. But I was so into this shit, and I was like, "Cool cliffhanger." I've never said "fuck you" at a cliffhanger. I said "fuck you" because I was so ready to figure out what the fuck was going on. So yeah, amazing movie. Great pick.
This is the last movie that I watched before this show, so I'm coming in very fresh. I just watched it, and probably that might have been a mistake, at least for these purposes, not because it would have made my list. I don't know that it would have, but because there's a lot to think about with this movie. It's not necessarily one that I can come in cold and just fire off the takes, but I think it's very powerful. The only thing that is giving me some question, and then I wonder about the choice made, is basically just the choice. I mean, this is a spoiler, obviously. The choice to reveal that the kidnapped man is in fact the person that they believe that he is. I want to think about that choice a little bit more because I wonder if they have left it ambiguous, if it would have made for an even more powerful ending. Because
I think it puts the previous behavior by everyone into such contrast because it makes you almost like feel differently about the way that they were kind of like unsure. I think it's a great way to rethink the behavior of like the guy who's like kind of taking it too far, and then once you reveal that, it's like, oh, it shifts your allegiance with the character. So I actually think, to me, it was a great choice. But I get what you
did. Anybody else actually still question? Because like the entire movie, I was questioning. At the end of him even like saying it, I actually questioned: is he doing this just to get out of it or not? And it seems like he. Really
I think
is.
the length he went to and the way he described it, I would say no. Like at a certain point, I was feeling that way at first when he was first kind of giving his spiel, but eventually I got to the point where I thought, no, I think it's pretty real.
Yeah, and I just think the message you talk about, Cody, yes, about like sort of the cycle of violence. I take that away, but I also like it's kind of in competition for me with this other idea. Again, the fact that they do reveal it to him of like, you will never escape like the authoritarian boot essentially of people like this guy, which obviously is something that probably Jafar Panahi relates to very, very personally. So just a lot to think about, but I mean, a great movie, like no denying it, and it deserves to be on a list.
Okay, Coho, what is your 5?
We're gonna end this stretch of foreign language films. But number 5 is No Other Choice.
Okay,
cool. I will be the first to admit, Park Chan-wook, not a guy I've watched a ton of, and the ones I've seen, I'm not super like duper connected to the way others seem to have. I like The Handmaiden. I didn't like love The Handmaiden. I like Decision to Leave. I wouldn't say I love Decision to Leave. They're good movies. I enjoyed watching them, but not ones I want to come back to. This was the first time I watched a Park Chan-wook where I was like, I want to watch that again as soon as it ended. I was like, I want to come back and watch that all over again. Because I think the reason this one works for me more than the others is it speaks to that dark comedy sensibility that like directors that I love tap into, like the Coen brothers tap into. People that like I love watching. It feels very in the same vein. And I think that the sort of intricate sort of plot, Lee Byung-hun's performance, it all sort of just connected to me stronger than I even totally anticipated. I think that Park Chan-wook's a fantastic director. He does a great job. I think that this is a super well-made movie. It's my favorite international film of the year. And I think it is maybe it's 1A, 1B on the best edited thing I've watched this year. The way that it's constructed, the way that it cuts together, I think it is phenomenal. Loved it. I loved every second of watching No Other Choice.
So this
Rue
is
had it at 6, yeah.
Yeah. This is lower on my list. So it's 6 for me. Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed this movie. I also have not actually seen many Park Chan-wook movies at all. And I've made this joke ever since I left the theater, and the joke doesn't work, but I love the joke anyway. This is what the Coen brothers want to do with their films. Though they have a lot of films that actually work really well. The kind of dark comedy, again, doesn't work, but I don't give a fuck. I don't like the Coen brothers.
No, it's not that. Everybody just keeps putting Park Chan-wook's this movie and Cohen's together, and I understand it, but I just wish people would stop. It makes no sense to me. Go ahead.
Kind of giving Boss Baby vibes, you know. It's the second dark comedy ever watched.
Hey, I have never heard anybody else actually say it outside of me.
Different.
So the fact that other people have said it makes me feel like, all right, I'm not alone. All I know is Lee Byung-hun was there's a group of 8 actors I've had that said any group of these 8 being nominated for Best Actor would be great. And Lee Byung-hun is probably the one that makes me saddest that didn't make it. The editing is absolutely crazy. The story is absolutely wild. It's long, and I was just in it from beginning to end. The only thing I'm going to add, I think Sung Yi-jin as his wife low-key steals the movie from him. If she is not as good as she is in that part, the movie does not work as well on the other end of the story that's going on. Because for the most part, every time you leave him, you could easily be like, all right, I want to get back to him. When she is on screen and doing and like trying to figure out what's going on, she is just as captivating. She was one of up for Best Supporting Actor for me in some of my North Carolina Film Critics Association ballots. And I really, really enjoyed this one.
This is my number 2 of the year. I absolutely love this movie. I love Decision to Leave too. I'm going to revisit Handmaiden. I did it for Roundtable, and I just don't. I think I rushed them all together at the end and didn't give that one the appreciation it deserved. Because now looking back, Park Chan-wook just makes movies that I find really fascinating. And not a hot take at all. Like, it's shocking. Like, he's a really good filmmaker. The fact is how funny this movie is and how like dark and situation. Like Payson said, it's like one of the best Coen brother movies not directed by the Coens, and that's why I said I've heard that. And I was just like, I guess. But I think it's just fascinating. You should talk about length. I didn't really feel the length as much at all for this movie.
Hey yo,
what?
Never mind. Go ahead.
It flew by for me. I still talk about the scene at the end with the phone, and he's on the phone with his wife, like FaceTime, and like the direction and like how that's shot. I think it's so cool and so interesting, and like how it kind of sinks in for him at the end, and like the play on the No Other Choice, and like how he felt like he had no out and stuff. I find it fascinating. That first kill to where he's like goofy and trying to figure it all out, and like it works really well for me. I remember once this movie ended, it was in my top 10, and it top 5, and it just kept, more I sat with it, more I thought of it. It's clearly my number 2 of the year. My number 1 is no one else's number 1, so it's fine.
It's a great movie. I will say it's a great movie.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was.
Could it be someone's number 3?
Oh,
wink, wink.
I just was always waiting for. I saw 2 people review it before me, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to get ripped apart." And I don't want to listen to it. But yeah, No Other Choice, fantastic choice. Paul Scott. Didn't have it on your list. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I am really hot and cold on Park in general. I feel like my 2 favorites are Handmaiden and Joint Security Area. I'm not as into a couple of the Vengeance trilogy movies, and like I think I just have a certain threshold with dark comedy where I feel like it goes to a point where I'm almost like overwhelmed by it. And I think with this movie, like once it got to the third kind of like stage of whatever he was doing, I just got to be a bit much. I love the scene where the guy's in the chair and he's confronting him, and the guy's wife is standing behind him. That scene's absolutely fucking hilarious when he gets so mad. The guy's like not understanding what's really going on in the scenario. It's great. Also, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like sorry, spoiler, but the very last shot of the movie, like that's like legit just random stock footage. Like it's not something that he shot himself. So it's crazy the way it's implemented into the movie. Wow. And it is a really chilling ending, that not quite the very last shot, but the parts of him walking around, that is really chilling. So it is a movie that's super entertaining. I just think like this is the classic case of like the movie that people finally get on board for a director that you've always really liked. And I'm like, but this is not one of the ones, you know, that's just kind of the feeling for me. And it's not that it's not good, because I do think it is really strong, but overall, I think it's just sort of like middle high tier of the year for me as far as favorites. But it is a super entertaining movie. I would say I do want to see it like again, because I would say the movie theater that I saw it in was maybe not the best visual quality. So maybe I'd like to see it in a better format. But anyway, yeah, good movie.
Yeah, again, I mentioned that I don't care about winning. This is actually number 9 on my actual top 10 list, so it's in my top 10. But I pushed it out because
scumbag.
I knew it was going to come up.
He had no other choice, Cody.
I did. I had no other choice. I love this movie. Love Park Chan-wook's work. Actually, I actually don't rate it higher than Decision to Leave or Handmaiden, but I still liked it a lot. Wildly entertaining. And yeah, the scene that Paul mentioned is like maybe the funniest scene this year to me, when he confronts that guy and he starts talking about the conversation that he overheard earlier. He's like, "You should have just opened the music cafe," and the guy's like, "How do you know all of this?" Like, it was making me crack up. So yeah, really, really good movie, and just it's Park Chan-wook doing what he does best, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would put this over Decision to Leave either. I think Decision to Leave would probably be higher still for me on this book. But again, have to revisit. All right, Coho, what's your 4?
All right, now that we did all this great build-up on all these great foreign films and talking about all these great movies that are definitely better made than the one I'm about to talk about, it's time to talk about the movie right behind me. Number 4 is Superman. I Am Me. I love Superman. It's my favorite superhero of all time. I've always loved that character. Essentially, his superpower is his empathy. It's his humanity, despite not being human. The way he's willing to talk to people, and rather than having the power to absolutely obliterate anyone in front of him, and not wanting to use it, and deciding not to use it, and wanting to talk his way out of it, I think is what makes Superman great. The way he cares about people. So I love that James Gunn nailed it. He absolutely got that spirit captured in the film. I think David Cornsweet's fantastic. I think he does a really good job. Barr's close personal friend, David Cornsweet. I also love Nicholas Hoult. I love that Lex Luthor kind of just got to be Lex Luthor for the first time in a long time, instead of being, weird Mark Zuckerberg or Kevin Spacey being Kevin Spacey or Gene Hackman being a cartoon. We actually kind of got the idea of what Lex is all about kind of done up by Nicholas Hoult. I love that Lex Luthor just got to be a hater for the sake of hating. It's nice to have a supervillain who just is bad because they bad. It's nice to see that again. I don't need the whole explanation as to why someone's evil. I'm kind of over it. But I enjoyed it. I watched it many times. It's a very feel-good superhero movie. I thought it's done very well. I really like the supporting cast. I love Rachel Brosnahan a lot as Lois Lane. I think she's excellent. I think the interview scene is great. I think it's very well done. Let's see what else. I'll say that. It's a great movie. Very fun time. Loved it.
Is it a bad movie? Is it a bad movie? No. Is it a great movie? Hell no. Like, there's no shot in hell. I just don't. Superman's just a fucking stupid hero, and he will always be a stupid hero. It just, the people of Metropolis are stupid. Everybody a part of this is stupid. He's a giant guy that can destroy everything unless you shove a green rock up his ass, and he's completely doesn't have any features. He can't do anything. And no one, and this green rock so far away, but everybody gets the green rock. Everybody has the green rock. It drives me fucking crazy about this. I feel like James Gunn just hit the gas pedal and went 80 and said, hey, we're going to throw it all out there because hell, I don't know if I'm going to make any more of these or what I'm going to do. Like, I just need to get you all familiar with the world I'm going to want to create and just throw it all out there. It was fine. I think I put in my review, I think Superman fans have been like waiting for something like this for a while. They wanted like a good Superman movie, so they got it. So enjoy it, have at it. I just find it stupid. That dog, fuck that dog. Like that dog sucks too. Like God, like no training courses whatsoever. Everybody's like, oh my God, do you see cryptos in the? Who gives a shit? And then also it's a piece of shit dog. So overall, I thought the movie was boring. Yeah, Lex Luthor got to be Lex Luthor. Like I think all of them just got to play a billionaire with like weapons and shit and does it. So I think he was bad too. But that's just my personal take. Everybody else on Superman. Scott, why the hell wasn't this on your list? I need
I know,
explanation.
shocking, right? Hey, I will say I liked this more than I thought I was going to. Didn't love it by any stretch of the imagination. Liked
How close
it,
to your
guess,
top 10?
overall, but not. But you know, it has the right spirit about it, I think, but it just does fall prey to some other common superhero movie issues, like the CGI action climax is boring to me. I actually found that Lex Luthor fell a bit flat for me. Yeah, Nicholas Hoult just wasn't enough a part of the movie, and also neither were Ma and Pa Kent. And he gets a speech at one scene in this movie, and it's supposed to be like the scene where Aunt May gives the speech in Spider-Man 2, and it just falls completely flat because he's not a character. But two things that I will say, my favorite two things on the movie. Number one was when they needle dropped 5 Years Time by Noah and the Whale, which was a crazy needle drop that came out of nowhere in a fight scene that I thought was really sick. And then number two was that the Metropolis Meteors, or whatever they're called, the stadium is Progressive Field, where my beloved Cleveland Guardians play. So shout out to Progressive Field for appearing in this movie.
I don't like Superman, and I honestly don't really like Superman movies. This is the first Superman movie I enjoyed without caveat. I really like this movie. I like it a lot. Coho didn't mention it. I don't know, maybe because he wanted the black man on the show to mention it, but Mr. Terrific is the best thing about the entire fucking film. Eddie Gathegi is just a pitch perfect actor, doing a pitch perfect job, fucking hilarious, intelligent. I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific. Fam, like, give him all the things now. I will say I did feel let down by the Pa Kent speech when I was in there. I was like, that wasn't as moving as I thought it was going to be. Rachel Brosnahan is perfect as Lois Lane. Shout out to Skylar Gazondo being hot fucking Jimmy Olsen. I actually really like that side plot and making him the hottest piece of ass ever. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. Coho, I am with you. Props.
I really should have went before you guys because I'm gonna have to talk right after this. So it's just gonna be like consecutively me talking for however long. I thought this movie was really, really good, and I probably like it more than some other movies that have and will appear on the show. That I don't need to share that because I don't need to ruin my standing with the host of the show. But it's great. A big Skylar Gisondo fan, obviously, for a long time. Thought he was great in this movie. I actually like that the Kents. I know that I kind of maybe wish there were bigger characters too, but I like that they're just like regular people, and it's not like Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. Like they're just regular people who are like from Kansas. I did like the Nicholas Hoult speech, like at the end, where it's just like it's not about deeper motivations. I'm just a fucking hater, which I thought was sick. But some of the stuff I could take or leave. I think like the special effects in the negatives, all that stuff is like kind of like not a big fan. I thought they looked kind of terrible. Nathan Fillion doing a bit much for me, but I thought it was really charming and like looked surprisingly good. And I just thought it was a really fun, good time. One of the superhero movies I probably liked the most in the last few years, but still wasn't really going to make my list. So sorry.
All right, Paul, 7 through 4.
Yeah, you're being manipulated, everyone. My number 7's Eddington.
Yikes.
My number 6 was already talked about. It was just an accident. My number 5 is a movie called Happy End. So this is a basically like soft dystopian sci-fi kind of drama from Japan, and essentially about a group of teens who are in this friend group. And in the world that they're living in, their government starts to pass more rules and regulations to limit the things that people can do in everyday life. And it's kind of just a story about them continuing to try to stay friends as some of them evolve into different people. It's kind of a hard movie to describe, honestly, but it's just like some of the most charming like teenagers you'll ever see in a movie. I think the kids are all like super distinct and just like have really great popping personalities. I think all the young actors in it are really great. But I just think it's got such a defined sense of place and world. And this group of kids, as one of them becomes more politically active in trying to kind of change some of the things in their life with the kind of surveillance state that's encroaching on them in day-to-day life in Japan in like the near future. And then the kind of rifts it causes in their friendships. I think the way it explores teenage friendships as they're tested by like coming into your own and becoming like either politically active or artistically minded, and the way that these kids change over time as they're kind of reaching the end of high school, which is amazing and incredible. And it like the movie kind of really came out of nowhere for me. But I just think it's really great. It's entertaining, but also is like really thought provoking. It's got great like visual aesthetics. I think like it's in the semi near future, so it's not going crazy with production design, but I think like even the small flourishes, the way that they make it look a little bit different than maybe our modern world, all those little things come together in such a great way. And I think like it all kind of comes to a head at the very end with something that maybe does not seem super climactic, but I think the emotional place that it gets to is really great. And again, it just really explores this period of life from late teenagehood into early adulthood in a way that I just thought was incredible. Highly recommend it. I think like if you just like coming of age movies or just movies about real people in real relationships, set in a slightly, different backdrop, I would recommend it to almost anyone. Like, I don't think it's nearly as weird as you might think about, a Japanese film about a bunch of teenagers in the sort of near future with some impending doom as far as their society goes. But it's just a great film. It's the feature narrative debut by this director, Neo Sora. I recommend anybody seek it out. I thought it was very special. And like, as soon as I saw it, I knew that it would make my top 10.
It's the one I didn't get to. It's on my list though. I will definitely watch it. I just had to watch your number 2 tonight. And that was just tad bit long for me to be able to squeeze both of them in. So anybody else see this movie?
Fortunately not.
First Silent of the Night. Yeah, but definitely check it out. I think it's available elsewhere, at least.
Yeah, you can rent it. It's like $4 or $5. The usual VOD places. Like, it's super easy to find. Yeah, definitely check that out.
And your number 4.
My number 4 is Jia Zhangke's Caught by the Tides. So this is an incredibly interestingly made film. So essentially, it's basically part new footage and also part footage taken from previous films that he shot and stuff that was not used in movies. And so it's kind of this blend of fiction and nonfiction, but it essentially follows the relationship of this couple and the woman played by Zhao Tao and her partner. And then he makes a sudden decision to leave where they live to pursue something in his career. And she makes the decision to try to follow him. And it kind of tracks her search to get back to him because she doesn't really have his contact information. This is like in the early 2000s. And it spans basically from like 2001 to essentially the present. And one of the most amazing things about the movie, because it is using footage from the early, late 2000s, is it's kind of like a document of the way that China has changed over this time. So you literally see regions like the Three Gorges become completely different over the course of the movie. And in the same way that the nonfiction parts are showing you the space changing, it tracks their relationship changing and how these people kind of make this sudden decision and how they evolve to become so different. And then at the end, when you kind of get a sort of confrontation, both with modernity and also with each other, like you can just see how like the actors have aged, and over the course of the movie, the technology changes where there's certain footage that's shot with like handheld DV. Some of it is much more modern digital aesthetic. There's even the presence of some like very modern technology with like robots and stuff near the end of the movie. And like, to me, it's such a beautiful portrait of the passage of time with this relationship and this place that they occupy. And I think just in terms of the form, it's an incredible experiment, and it almost has some of the amazing qualities to me of a film, something like Boyhood, in terms of just literally seeing time change and seeing a place evolve, become something else over the course of over a decade. I think the Zhao Tao performance is absolutely fucking unbelievable, especially in the latter half of the movie when it is in the more modern day. And I just think it's an extraordinary achievement. It's fascinating too, because I've seen some of Zhao's movies that some of the footage is almost like cut footage from that stuff, and it's surreal to experience stuff that is like shot for another movie, and you can kind of see the visual qualities the same, but then it's repurposed and repackaged to tell a different story. And I just love kind of stuff like that, following a filmmaker's trajectory over the course of a couple decades. I think it is like kind of his magnum opus to put all these things from his career together with this actress he's worked on as a creative partner for so long. I mean, I think he's a filmmaker to recommend in a lot of respects, and it's definitely one of those things where it is much more enhanced by having seen his other work. But even on its own, I think it's just a remarkable artifact. And I'm just so moved by especially the last 5-10 minutes. There's like a face-to-face kind of confrontation, like in I don't remember if it's the Rain or the Snow, but it's just amazing. And the movie looks incredible. And it just has all this stuff in it that I think comes together in a very fulfilling way. So top of the tides, an amazing achievement.
Yeah, I watched this. I saw the letterbox title film 20 years in the making, and I was just like, what? Like, I didn't understand. And then watching it, I think it's a very I'm mixed on the film itself. Like, I liked more than I just was lost in a little bit. I think the creative style is something that you should go check out alone, because I think as a filmmaker and stuff, and what he's able to achieve in this, I think is like masterclass almost. Like, it was so fascinating to, because you see people age in movies all the time. Like, they literally age in this movie, which I think is like fat because he's worked on it for so
they get gray
long.
hair. Like, they start so young, and then all of a sudden it's like they're fucking pretty
it's
old.
fascinating.
Like,
it's just that, and that's what kept me in. And I do love the last 10 minutes of the film. It's just I think I just need to revisit it. I think I need to watch it again.
It's hard because it's kind of formless for a lot of it, because it's using all the stuff put together. So it kind of like becomes like you kind of get lost in kind of the wave of all of it. But I think it does come back at the end to kind of wrap up.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the weaknesses I have in watching movies. I don't have the attention span that I would love, and I get a little lost in all of it. I was just like, I was just fascinated like how he was able to weave it in, but it did lose me at times. But I recommend it for a lot of people. Like, go check it out. Just know if you like watching movie like filmmakers just like cook on like
it's crazy. It works, right? Because it's like cut footage from a bunch of different, like some fiction, some nonfiction, and but it doesn't feel like it's just mashing a bunch of shit together. Like, it feels like it floats, and it's insane.
Like, I could see like certain things like doing this like as like I've seen some weird films that people have liked, and it feels like it's all mashed together, and it doesn't really make sense in my brain. It all
you don't talk about editing. The editing of this movie is unbelievable. The way that it's all
insane. I don't even know how he even does it. Like, it's crazy how wild it puts it together. So, anybody else see this film?
I want to.
I think you'll like it. Especially, I think you'll like it. Okay, Rue. 7.
Yeah, my number 7. So Little Emily is, I say, the best animated film of the year, what I would vote. But my favorite animated film of the year is Predator: Killer of Killers. Between this and Badlands, gave Dan Trachtenberg everything Predator from here on out for the rest of his life. The world building in this film is probably the best, most efficient world building. People have been asking after Prey, just do a Predator in each the little part of history. And Dan Trachtenberg said, yeah, all right, I give it to you now. And I give it to you in a medium where I can make it as bloody as shit and as action-packed as shit and do things that I can't do in live action. Lindsay Levanchi is probably my favorite voice performance in the entire film, but my favorite section is the Japanese section, easily. I just think the brother story, the revenge story, the way they come together, the different versions of the Predators, in each section is great to see. I love that they made it It did get stale by the third one because you switched to the airborne fights. Hearing Michael Biehn was great, but hearing my boy Rick Gonzalez come back for something, freaking shooting threes on a fast break like he did in Coach Carter, I like him in anything is great. And putting it all together at the end, bringing them all together and making the world just feel so damn vast. Like this can just actually go on forever and ever and never get tired of it. Is action-packed, bloody, entertaining as shit. Absolutely love this film. The second was that.
So I don't like Predator on the whole. I just don't. I think the first one's like a fun overall movie. The rest of them I really just could do without. And that was basically because, I decided to join a trivia league and see if I could answer questions about movies I watched, and I sucked at it, and then I just was miserable because I had to watch these. These two that came out this year are the best Predator stuff I've seen. Besides Prey, I think Prey is really good too. But like, I think Prey is the best one. But I may just lose everybody. I'm not really sure. This new animation style that everybody seems to be going to is like this way. I don't say it's bad. It's just it's hard to follow at times for me. I don't know. It's not my kind of animation style. And I guess it's me just adjusting to new, but it seems like it's worked for this film and it's worked for this film, so we're just gonna keep using that type of animation style, which is fine. I think that what everybody's wanted is the Predator to be like, cross generation, like cross timelines, going and just killing fucking everything, and that's kind of what this movie gives you. I think it's got great voice cast. I think it's very, like, for an animated movie, just bloody as all get out. Such an action pack. So I highly recommend it, especially if you like Predator. Like, if you haven't seen this yet, it's really good. And even if you like just action movies, I think it's one of those movies that does a really good job of selling it. It's hard for me to grasp. Like, and I think that's the hardest thing for me with like Predator in general. Because Predator in general, I like to have like an emotional connection with, like, regardless of who they are, like who I'm rooting for or who I'm hoping to see succeed. They could be an asshole or they could be the best person in the world. I want to be able to hard to connect with a fucking just destroyer of all everything, like that. And then, like, I think the human characters that they interact with are good. Again, at the end of the day, like when I watch a tornado movie, I want to see the Twister tear some shit up. I want to see the Predator rip these humans' heads off, if we're being real. Like, that's the point of the movie. So yeah. And it never makes sense that humans are able to, like, take down predators and stuff, in my opinion. Like, I understand there's like David versus Goliath and stuff like that, but these fuckers are born to destroy everything. These humans.
In the first one, it makes sense. It gets a little crazy once they get these crazy power-ups and stuff.
Yeah. But overall, go check it out. Crazy, like, overall. Glad you put it on my list. It's in the top 40 of my movies for sure. Anybody else see this movie?
Yeah, the thing you're talking about, Cody, with the animation style, it's like American studios trying to make anime, and it's like they're almost like outside of their depth. And to me, I actually agree, Cody, that to me what it actually happens when it's action packed is everything's so busy, and they don't do enough with the colors to me to make it really pop and make it as followable, I think, is like some of the action stuff in anime is, at least in my the way that I can perceive it. So like this movie is like sounds cool and sick in theory. I just got kind of tired of it. It was just like, it's so over the top violent, and I know like that's a thing that people really like in these movies, but it just gets monotonous for me after a while, and I think stuff gets a little bit repetitive, and it's just like doing the craziest, wildest. And like in a live action movie, it's crazier because it feels wilder to do that stuff. But I don't know, like, I mean, I definitely think Prey is like a level way above both of the Predator movies from this past year. I like what the movies are going for, but ultimately, like, it just falls a little flat for me. And again, like, it just gets a little old. So it's not bad. Honestly, I went back to look what I thought of it, and I literally forgot to log it on Letterboxd, and I watched it probably 6 months ago, which I think sort of speaks to how I felt about the movie. But it was like, it's not bad. It's just like, I don't know, it was not a standout for me.
No, I agree. Like, the one thing I felt the way you kind of felt is like when it's just nonstop, it just gets like a lot. It's just a lot to take in. Like I can.
The best
watch
action
somebody-
movies have periods where they're not fighting. Like it's not just like
Right.
fighting for 2 hours. It just gets it just that's
Yeah, it's just a lot. How interesting can you kill this guy the next? This just was a lot. But no, like that's interesting because you know anime way better than I would. I don't watch anime at all. But that's what I'm kind of what it feels like.
It borrows some. It's not a perfect analogy, but
Right.
it just borrows some of the aesthetic stuff.
Yeah. Because I think Spider-Verse jump started or whatever that type of animation style, and then everybody kind of took similar stuff, which works. Now we got a basketball with a goat coming out or whatever, and it looks a joke. And I'm just like, this looks rough.
Yeah,
cool.
animated adaptation of the Fork song.
Be the best movie of the year.
Okay. Your number 6 was already talked about, so your number 5.
Yep. Number 6 was no other choice. My number 5 is Train Dreams. All right. So I'm not usually like a lover of movies about nothing, or what I feel like is movies about nothing. I just think Joel Edgerton was just so damn gracefully quiet and subtle in this film that I was drawn to everything he was doing. A lot of people didn't like it. I love the Will Patton narration. I absolutely enjoyed the shit out of that. And seeing like putting him to not be the perfect human being that you usually get with these subjects when he just completely didn't do shit about the Japanese dude or Asian dude. I can't remember if he was Japanese or not. Was really, really interesting. And then just it's extremely well shot. It's a beautiful film. It just made me feel again about like beauty in life and thinking about life and its cruelty and its beauty and what you get to live. William H. Macy is damn good in this. I love I never get the quote right, but like just look at it. Look at what art, all of it. Just sitting there and look at all of it and sitting back, like have a fucking snowstorm outside right now for the first time in like 9 years. It just was walking. It was like, this shit is beautiful. It's fucking heartbreaking. It made me realize anything that Clint Bentley and Greg Cuidar come out with, I am watching immediately after Sing Sing. And then this, I was just like, I don't need to figure out. I don't need to see a trailer. I don't need to see anything. Your names are on it. I'm going to go see it because back-to-back years of just straight contemplative, nothing too big, nothing too grand, nothing too we've been using a lot. Nothing too emotionally manipulative. It's just fucking life. And just getting you into just really contemplative, damn, this is some beautiful shit, even in how cruel it is. I was very, very much a fan of this.
Listen, I have discovered that I am a slut for a good narration. I really liked Will Patton's narration in this movie. I know some people are like, that's just stupid. It's something that works for me. And if it's done right, there's definitely cases it doesn't work. I was surprised that I was like on the positive end of this movie compared to some, because there are some people in the community that I was like, oh, of course, like, because I have been on the record. If you want to see a fucking beautiful painting, just go look at a fucking beautiful painting. Don't need to give me 102 minutes of just, oh, it looks pretty, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a fan of that normally. I need something, but this just really worked for me. It just really worked for me. I found his performance really good. I think William H. Macy gets like a lot of the credit in it, but I think Joel Edgerton is really good in this movie. I think it is probably one of the most beautiful movies this year for me. So I stand on it. I'm really curious to find out, because I know Coho did not like this movie at all, and which is funny to me, because normally we'd be on the reversal. But I'd say check it out because I really think it's good. I think it's up for. Did it get a nomination for Best Picture?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Well, better than your fucking Drive Fast fucking movie that's bullshit.
It is better than that. Yeah.
Fuck off. Your dad race car porn. All right.
I love that movie too,
Everybody
though.
else on Train Dreams.
Counterpoint, F1 is great. Fuck you, nerd. Get bed. It's a good movie.
Go ahead, Cole. What are your
As
thoughts?
somebody that actively watches F1, that movie pisses me off.
Get bed, bitch. F1.
Guys, we'll have time to talk about F1, I assume, on co-host list. So
No, it's not there.
Oh, I don't have F1.
Oh, what?
I don't have F1 on the top 10. It's a great movie, though. Great movie. Anyway. Good movie.
So I guess I'll go.
Yeah, go
I actually, sorry, I'm the guy who got annoyed by the narration in this movie. I think it just explains too much for me. That I'm not anti-narration by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there are just moments when I wanted to just sit and experience the beauty of this movie and the beauty of the experiences that this guy and tragedy of the experiences that this guy are having. And it feels like in a lot of those moments, all of a sudden the narration came crashing in to sort of like tell me what the character was thinking or feeling. And it didn't do so in a particularly poetic way either for me, which is why I think it fell a little bit short. Like, I'm sorry, if you're going to go for this type of movie, then you're going to get compared to, you know who, Terrence Malick, but it didn't ever hit the heights of like, it reaches for that sublime that he often hits. It never got there for me in the way that, you know, Days of Heaven or something. And probably not a fair comparison because Days of Heaven is a masterpiece, but its movie is reaching for that, and it never even comes close for me. But it looks great. I don't hate the movie or anything.
You know what this movie kind of reminded me of? Tree of Life. You know a movie I don't like?
That's like one of the imagine saying that as an insult. That's insane.
I just don't like the Tree of Life. Okay, anyway, the thing with Train Dreams that I didn't like, I'm with Scott. I hated the narration. It felt very much like the movie looks good. There's clearly really competent actors in it.
People to explain shit to you for the movie. You needed the narration. You watched Drive My Car and had to skip the first 45 because it just replays itself. Fuck off, nerd.
You're calling me a nerd, bitch. F1 rips. You're an asshole. I'm saying, my thing with Train Dreams that I got annoyed by. At first, I didn't mind. Like, the narration starts. I'm like, okay, I can live with this. About 20 minutes in, I'm like, okay, let me breathe and live in the movie a little bit. Like, I feel like it felt like the movie was constantly holding my hand, but it was like gripping my wrist and like being like, hey, look at all the shit. Look at everything that's happening. And it's like, I can look. I'm watching the movie. I can see this without you being like, hey, narration down your throat so that you understand what the character's feeling. I feel like Joel Edgerton's a good enough actor to convey through a look what 90 pages of narration are telling me throughout the movie. So like it bothered me. It felt a little overdone. I really liked Sing Sing. So when I was coming into this movie, I kind of had, maybe it's unfair, I had pretty high hopes. I was excited.
Jockey is a much better thing to compare the movie to than Sing Sing, I will say. It's like the directors are different for a reason.
Directed those two and Quaidar only wrote this one. But like those two, it seems like they like work together pretty constantly. So I kind of, at the very least on a script level, was hoping for more like Sing Sing because those two wrote it together. That's what I was hoping for. Like that kind of consistency. But yeah, I don't know. I think William H. Macy's good. I think there's only one scene in the whole movie that I like that really stuck with me. Like a lot was when the guy shows up and shoots the fugitive. I think that's the best scene in the movie. That stuck with me a lot. The rest of it to me kind of, I don't know. The rest of it felt like I was kind of just being dragged through a story that I just couldn't fully just let myself go over to. So maybe I need to try it again, but I didn't have a good time watching this one. So
okay, so we've all seen the movie, right? And anyone who's not seen the movie, you can cover your ears. Fucking guy's wife and kid burned down in a fire, and you're like, nothing happens in the movie. What the fuck, man? That's crazy. First of all, second of all,
I said it's a movie about nothing.
Manchester by the Sea, nothing happened. Also,
it's a movie about nothing.
The man who was arrested is Chinese. He's very Chinese. His name is literally Fu Shang, which is maybe top 5 most Chinese names that have ever Chinese. So I do need to assert that. Also, that was very contextually important for the time.
Appreciate it.
Also, I mean, it's hard because this is also an adaptation of a book. And so it's very different from like the original story of something like a Sing Sing in the same way. I liked it. I think the narration worked for me because of the performance. I would say I often have very strong thoughts about narration, and trust me, we will get into that later on in this episode. I have no doubt. But I think it does work for the most part. It is a little bit Junior Malick for sure. And so it doesn't quite reach those heights. Like it's not in my top 10 for a reason. But I think like Carrie Condon is incredible in the parts of the movie that she's in. I love the interplay between them. And And I think a lot of that stuff really works for me for the most part. I think ultimately I just was, I don't know, I didn't totally get lost in it in full the way that I would have liked to for it to be like amongst my favorites, but I really liked it. I think it does look great. And that's not like, to me, that really matters. Like how a movie looks, like even just the shot of the POV of the tree when it comes down. I know that sounds so simple, but it's such a cool visual image that I think there are things like that are innovative and really, really great. So I liked it. I wasn't as high on it as Rue, obviously, but I did think it was pretty damn good.
The great thing about not going back to fill in gaps of great directors is that you have nothing to compare it to and you can love it. No idea what a fucking Terrence Malick film is. So I could just watch this and be happy.
Rue, are you ready for a battle?
Sure.
You're get ready because you're gonna be in for a battle after this one. I mean, you got me on your side, but it's gonna be really rough for the next like 20 minutes.
Hey, that's all good because this movie that is my number 4 was my number 2 for a very long fucking time. That would be The Life of Chuck. I loved this film. I absolutely adored this film. I am figuring out in real time, going through my list right now, that I don't know if I'm going through like a early like life crisis or something, but movies about the beauty of life and joy have been up and down this fucking list. And I just the middle scene of just the drumming and the dancing and the joy that brought me. And then connecting that to the dancing scene after with Chuck being a kid, on top of the fact that while I was in the movie theater watching, I had no idea what the fuck was happening in that first act and trying to figure that out as it was going through. Combination of enjoying life, having happiness, sci-fi, which I love, actors that I absolutely love, Mark Hamill doing Mark Hamill things. I felt so fucking good at the end of this film, even with that ending. In films that make me feel good, I just enjoy the hell out of. And I also really like shit broken up into different acts and different timelines and not a straightforward storytelling chronologically or whatever. I never remember what the fuck to call it, but whatever. I was a huge fan of this film. And I will continue to be a huge fan of this one.
Yeah. So I felt like I was on a completely weird island because this movie, there's a movie this year that is like, you're either on one side or the other. Like, I don't think there's a middle ground for this movie. Like a lot of people either liked it or a lot of people just disliked it. For me, at least what I was seeing, I don't follow everybody on Letterboxd. I follow select few people. I love this movie. It's my 6th of the year. I enjoy it the hell out of it. I know I understand. Like I understand the narration is probably some people's pushbacks on this movie for sure. Didn't bug me at all. The journey through life just made me happy. Like it just made me feel like overall a happy feeling throughout the entire thing, and that was just working. I think Tom Hiddleston's really good in this movie. I think somebody on the first part 1 said the problem was Mark Hamill. I didn't have an issue with him either. I just didn't really have an issue at all. When I saw some low reviews, I'm like, man, maybe I missed something that the rest of them did see. I don't know, but it just worked really well for me. I talked about it in length the first show. It's number 6. It was really close up there for a while until some movies came in later. So I 100% agree with you, Rue. Great film in my eyes. All right. I know at least Coho and Paul see it. Scott, have you seen this?
No.
Okay.
I just say, Rue, if you like big life movies full of joy and all that, watch A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. It was good. It was actually good.
I thought you were going to have it on your list.
Journey. I actually saw Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. It's fine. I did enjoy watching it, but it was just fine.
All right, boys, take it away. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, for one thing, Rue did say Mark Hamill is doing Mark Hamill things. And if you mean like acting fucking terribly, which we'll talk about also probably later on the list, we can talk about that.
Fuck off.
So this is a really funny, I had a funny journey with this movie because obviously it wins the TIFF Audience Award. And so it's like this big hyped movie. And I have like a very up and down relationship with Mike Flanagan. Like I like some of his stuff. I haven't seen everything. But I started the movie and I was worried because I feel like it had kind of died down and it didn't seem like it had as much of a presence in like movie culture. And I was watching it and I was like, wow, like he is cooking with this like the first 30 minutes. I was like, this is so good. Like the Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan stuff was so good. And then this Tom Hiddleston section in the center like drops like a fucking lead balloon. Like I love dance sequences in movies. Like I've talked about this many times. Like that part was so like inauthentic and fake. And like, again, we mentioned about narration. Like to me, this is like some of the worst narration I've ever heard in any movie. I think some of it is, I think Nick Offerman is like a really bad voice actor in particular. Like I think what he does is so over.
This is literally a real life drummer. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
It's not even the music part. I don't really have a problem with. I think it's just what it's trying to set up with the two of them and their dynamic, and then the weird like relationship with him and the girl. What I will say is I do need to take some time out. Mia Sarah, are you free on Friday night? I am free on Friday night. If you're free on Friday night, she looks incredible. Shout out. And she's actually really good in the movie too. But I just think the movie like totally falls apart. And like it's really trying to go for this big grand thing, especially at the end. And like I think it just does not deliver. I think a lot of that is it's on Mark Hamill's shoulders to deliver the emotional connection that he has with his grandson. And it just does not work for me at all. Like I really love what this movie's trying to do, and there are elements of it that I like. Like I said, I do really like the beginning part where there's the ambiguity. I think the depiction of that like kind of like apocalyptic stuff is really compelling, and the dynamic even between Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan, like the whole like divorce but you still call each other, like that part is great. And then to me, like the last 2/3 are just like this whole thing with the girl that he has the dance classes with, and then he like dances with her, and then like all of that, like I like it did not like absolutely nothing for me. Like I don't know like what it was about it. It's not even that I think the movie is terrible, but I think I had such high hopes for it at one point in time, and I liked what it was going for, and I still like the macro of what the movie's trying to tell. But I think like the way it tells it just like, and then at the end with the bed and the attic, like all that stuff, just like it really really did not work for me in a way that honestly bummed me out, because I know people that this is their favorite movie of the year, top 5, like people that I trust, people's opinions I take very seriously. Like you guys loving the movie as much as you do, like, is not insignificant. So, like, I was excited to watch it. I got to it pretty late, but yeah, it really lost me in the last 2/3 in a way that I was like pretty bummed out by, because I liked so much of how it started. So,
well, you lost me and you suck. All right, Cahill, go ahead.
That's fair.
So, like, I didn't hate this movie. To be clear, I just was disappointed.
Actually,
I was just disappointed. Here's my thing. I think that the first part is so good that I was underwhelmed when we got to part. First of all, I don't have a problem with the drumming part. I actually like that scene. I didn't hate that. I thought that was good. I just think it gets a little less good as it goes on, because I find the unraveling of who Chuck is to be a less interesting and unsatisfying answer as to the setup of
the setup is always easier, though. I think it's easy to say that like the setup is gonna, because it's easier to set something up than to pay it off.
To me, I feel like it's, if they had structured the movie a little differently, where like that first act was the whole movie, and you used the part like, and you chopped up the second and third parts and made it like you get these answers spaced out over the course of the runtime that are more relevant to what's happening in the present day, I think it would work better for me. But I felt by the time we got to the third part, and I was just kind of lost. I'm not lost, but it did not win me over by the end, and it kind of lost steam with me as it went on. I think the third part is actually the part I like the least, because not because of Mark Hamill, because I don't think he's bad. I wouldn't go that far. I thought he was fine. I just thought that like I wasn't as entertained by the answer as what the first two were giving me, because part
the question,
the answer was him dancing and stuff. I was like, oh, that second part with adult Chuck, I liked. I gave me the answer. I was like, this is a very fun guy. I'm into it. And I kind of wish after that part, even we were going back to the first part and the people who were there, because I was more attached to them than I was Chuck. That was my problem.
They should have called it The Life of Chuck Colin, a fun guy, right? Then you would have liked it.
Exactly. He's a very fun guy.
No, I mean, there's just like points, like it drives me insane. There's points where like Nick Offerman is like telling you how the character of Chuck feels about stuff in a way that I just thought was insane. Like the lack of trust in the audience, I felt like at the end, like towards the end, like I was like so let down by that because that's not like, and I know Mike Flanagan's thing is like saying how people feel. It just was like it reached.
So for both movies, for the narration, I feel like if you are in a narration and you know that's what they're doing to deliver, fuck the trust the audience. This is what they're giving you. So give it, like, if you enjoy it and this is what they're giving you.
It just didn't work. It just didn't land for me.
You don't have to. You don't have to trust the audience when you're like, trust me in that I'm giving this to you because the narration is great. Like I don't know. I to a point I'm like, just
there are probably movies I feel that way with, honestly. Like I just like honestly I'm more pro narration than not, and like there's a ton of examples of movies that like, especially classic noir and stuff, that I love it. I just think that maybe it's part of it's just a delivery, and maybe it's not a big Nick Offerman guy in general. But yeah, it just that part kind of broke it for me.
I will say Will Patton and I do like Will Patton and Nick Offerman's voices. And I
do have a question. Have you guys like read the Stephen King novel? I have not, so I don't know how close it is to the novella. If the novella is structured the exact same or what.
I don't read the books.
I don't know. I didn't know if anyone had. That was my question because I was like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like,
your breakdown of the movie was the most confusing thing I ever saw. The first half, whatever, they started dancing. You're like, I'm on board with Life of Chuck. You just wanted them to tap dance the rest of the fucking movie. Like, what was the point? Like, where were you going by the end?
I wasn't gonna say it.
My point being, I thought the first act, like the first structure, like piece, was more interesting. I wanted to live in that world with those characters.
That's fair.
And I wanted that to be.
But then you're like, hey, he's drumming and she's drumming and he's dancing, and I like where we're going.
Well, it's because to me in that segment, that like was my introduction to that's the answer to who Chuck is as a character, and I was intrigued by that.
That's just a very flat. I mean, that was his character. That would just be really.
If he was Gene Kelly, sure. I mean, if the answer was Chuck is Gene Kelly,
just keep fucking dancing, buddy. All right.
If he drove a Formula One car and like.
Scott, it's your turn.
Cody doesn't read the books. He's going to be learning about the life of Jesus Christ solely from the upcoming Terrence Malick
Passion of the Christ too. Passion of the Christ too. Yeah.
Wait, there's a book about that? Crazy.
All right.
Not if you ask some people.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Number 7 was a previous yikes. It's The Mastermind. Yeah, like with Jay Kelly, Kelly Reichardt almost has a place reserved on my list at this point. This was my most anticipated movie of the year coming into the year. And it fully delivered. I mean, this cast and her and the idea of Kelly Reichardt making a heist movie, which of course you never know, it's not really going to be a heist movie, but there's a heist scene in it and it's a sick scene. But the movie is something a lot more than that, which, in a year full of political movies, this one was very quietly political because everything that Kelly Reichardt does is quiet. But I really appreciate what this movie is ultimately about. It's this guy played by Josh O'Connor who is basically just rudderless and bored, and he has this sense that there are things bigger than him that are going on in the world, specifically the Vietnam War is going on, and he's not a part of it. And so he has to go out and do something to feel like he matters, essentially. And so he goes out, he steals this painting, and it just, he's clearly in over his head. The whole movie is him like clearly without a plan, just trying to escape his fate. And again, consistently remain outside of everything else that is going on in the world, because he just feels like he's bigger than that. He's better than that. He's a very self-absorbed character, and it keeps building and building, and his predicament gets worse and worse. And it has one of my favorite endings of the year, this really darkly comedic last moment where he can't run away from what's going on in the world anymore. It catches up to him, and it does so in like that. And then the movie just ends. And I think I was like cinema when that happened in the theater. And also, just this movie is absolutely gorgeous. The production design, the costumes, the score by Rob Mazurek, probably my favorite score of the year. This like really off-kilter jazz score that is going on. It's just, I knew it was never going to get any like tech Oscars, below the line Oscar nominations, but that doesn't make me less mad about it because it's just impeccably crafted on every level. So great movie. I expect nothing less from Kelly Reichardt at this point.
Paul?
Yeah, this was my number 9. I adore Kelly Reichardt, like one of my, handful of favorite working filmmakers. And I think like the way her version of this kind of like dirt bag cinema, I think I kind of always knew was going to be very special. One thing that I love the most is just you can tell the little subcultures in the movie. Like I think especially his dynamic with John Magaro and Gabby Hoffman. And I think Gabby Hoffman is like unbelievable in her limited screen time in the movie. The things that she communicates to him, both when he first gets to their house and then kind of like at the end of her kind of portion of the movie, just signal the type of person that he clearly is. Like, I think I love finding out about a character through other people's relationship to them and how other people treat them. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about JB, the Josh O'Connor character, is like you kind of see him through different eyes as the movie evolves and as he's in different contexts. And I mean, it just as every Kelly Reichardt movie is. It's a great movie about a person on the fringes of society who are just trying to make shit work, essentially. And he just happens to be a little less, morally scrupulous than the rest of them. But I think it's just a perfect time and place movie. Again, like what Scott was talking a lot about, the stuff that really struck me the most too. Like I think the music is incredible, and the ending is like really sneaks up on you. It's like you think the movie's going to keep going for a while, and then all of a sudden it just kind of hits that with that punch. That I think is super, super effective. And more than anything, it's just a movie I love to exist in. Like, even though he's staying at these kind of rinky-dink motels and having like take buses and barely getting along, like I just love how everything feels and everything is just so tactile.
You want to be wearing a sweater and boxer shorts and go out to close the garage door.
I mean, no, but yes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. No, but yes. And like this kind of guy, I just think is always fascinating. Like somebody who's just in over their heads when he gets involved with these people, like trying to steal these paintings and stuff. Me personally, if I had Alana Haim at home, I would not be doing all this, but whatever. Salute.
This is a movie I liked. I didn't love. This is the first film I've seen from her, so I haven't seen anything else. I don't know even if I would like any of the other ones, but
I think a couple you would, a couple maybe less so.
But I love the environment of this movie. I think Josh O'Connor, like, they've strapped a rocket ship to his back, and he is going to be that actor in the next 10 years that we're still talking about. I loved everything. Slower pace, I guess, maybe would be the word I'd describe it. That just a heist movie that wasn't really high, but like at a slow pace. So that's where it kind of maybe lost me a little bit. But I do love how she was able to create that aesthetic in like 2025, like make it feel of the time period. And I honestly think like I'm with you on the score. You said best score of the year. I don't know if you watched the movie After the Hunt, but that might be up there for score. You might want to listen to that one. But other than this one, this one is I'm ready to. I want to revisit this at some point. I did definitely enjoy it. I think his performance is really good. And yeah, I guess I think I was just
acting in the movie is
right.
Incredible.
I think I was undersold is the best way to describe it. I think I heard it was like going into it, I found out it was a heist movie or was told it was a heist movie, and that's kind of like the D plot of this movie.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. But I think I went into the expectation of 70s crime heist, which hits all those cylinders, and then when I didn't get that, maybe I felt a little let down. But if I would have been told like, hey, just a guy, just trying to get by and set the
it's a drama about a guy who stole some stuff. It's not a heist movie. Like,
correct.
In the framework of a Kelly Reichardt movie, it is the most high octane, exciting heist movie, but that is not.
But I think if I didn't go in with those expectations, I probably wouldn't have felt let down at the end of it. So overall, I think it definitely without that, with that frame of reference, needs to watch it again. Anybody else? Rue didn't see it. Coho, have you seen it?
I did, and I liked it. It's Kelly Reichardt's not a director that I've delved too deep in, but I have not totally loved everything I have seen. So The Mastermind was kind of the first one for me where I watched it, and I didn't have necessarily like high expectations, but I was excited because it was Josh O'Connor, and I really like him. And the idea of what they were saying this movie was interesting to me, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised by it. I do really like the score. I think it is a very fun score. I really like Josh O'Connor, like at the end, towards the end, when you like see him like, interact with certain characters and stuff. I think it's good. So, but yeah, no, good movie. Just was not very good.
Just on F1. All right.
Not
What's your
F1.
six?
All right, number 6, the most fun movie that I watched this year. I was kicking my feet in the theater. Black Bag. This movie, I feel like only Steven Soderbergh could have made this, like, made it this cool and slick. Basically, like, they didn't even need to say at the end of the movie that he was the director. Like, you can just guess it after watching this movie because it's like, who else can do it? I love these types of like espionage movies for adults, right? It's not like James Bond or whatever. It's, you know, most of the espionage and all of that is going on in dinner conversations in this movie or in offices and phone calls and things like that. Relay was another movie from this year that was like that. Not anywhere near as good as this movie, but still pretty enjoyable. But yeah, this movie is just sick. And Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender are, of course, just oozing cool with their sort of detached performances where they're just sizing each other up the whole time. You know, of course, they're married, and then there's this extra layer again of they are having to keep secrets from each other because of their job. The whole supporting cast is perfectly chosen. I will jump right on the bandwagon with everybody and say that Marissa Abella was phenomenal, and just like goes toe to toe with them in these scenes that I was like, whoa, who is that? Because I don't watch Industry, which I guess is the thing that she was most known for. But
Back to Black, bro. Come on.
You watch Play Amy Winehouse?
Oh God, yeah, no. But yeah, she was incredible, and just like again, watching the espionage, the backbiting, all of that going on, the pettiness of like Tom Burke's character, just you know, it just has that electricity that I feel like only Soderbergh can bring. David Koepp also has an amazing screenplay for this movie. I think he's very up and down in his career, but when he works with Soderbergh, it usually produces great results. Kimmy, the other movie they did recently, is probably like my other favorite recent Soderbergh movie. But Soderbergh never disappoints for me. Like Presence was also really good. But like I said, I watched this in March and I was like, if I have more fun watching a movie this year, it will have been a really good year. And I'm not sure that I did. Like it was still a really good year, but like this movie, there was just a high that I felt coming out of it that was like nothing else.
Yeah, I think this was one of the first like 5 films of the new year that I watched. And it stayed in my top 10 the entire time. It's 7 on my list. It was absolutely so much fun. Yeah, Melissa Abella I think she stole every scene she was in. I never saw her in anything else. Apparently she was Amy Winehouse in that movie. I did not see that movie, so
Bad.
this is the first one that this is her first role. Cool. If that was bad, I'm not sure. But no, she was excellent. I just loved, they knew exactly what they were doing. It was they didn't overstay their welcome. They basically let Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett just like cook between each other, and I think that was cool. I always like a inner working for a common thing, but then not trusting, like, can you trust your partner, basically? I think that just will always work if you do it well, and they do it great.
I will say in a year where I got married, I enjoyed watching this also because it takes a strange and twisted path to get there, but it's actually kind of a very affirming movie about marriage at the end of
Yeah.
it. So I appreciated that too. It was nice.
It just overall just was a really solid movie, and I can't wait to revisit it. I think it was so much fun. So no one else had it on their list, but did anybody else see this movie?
Marissa Bella playing a girl with daddy issues, groundbreaking. No, I mean it was fun. I think like one of the movie's biggest strengths, how slick and smooth it is actually one of the things that almost is like limiting its ceiling to me. Like the reason it's not on my list is because I think it's super entertaining and quick, get in, get out, and I love that about it. But because of that, it didn't give me more than that, I guess. And I think these other movies just gave me a little bit more. We haven't said the name Tom Burke yet, but he's actually my favorite part of the movie. I love. Okay, well, I just love his interplay with Marissa Bella in particular, but just with the rest of the characters. I think he's just such an incredible actor. I think he's like one of our best and brightest, honestly. But yeah, super fun movie, super entertaining. I really like the look of it and how like kind of like low key and everything it is. Obviously, I wish it would have done better. This is just the kind of movie that, of course, it's not successful, unfortunately. But it's going to be, a movie for years and it's like a classic movie you can recommend to anybody, and pretty much everyone's going to enjoy it because this is a fun mystery, super propulsive. Don't really have anything negative to say about it. It's just one of those things where it's the ultimate platonic ideal of a B+, A- movie that doesn't quite reach those heights for me, ultimately.
I need to rewatch this film. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the crap out of it when I watched it, and it should be my exact movie. Soderbergh, great cast, mystery, twists and turns. It's like, okay, Oceans is my favorite trilogy. This should work extremely well for me. But there was something while I was watching it that I was like, this is not as like engrossing as I want it to be, weirdly, even though this is all amazing and really great. So I have to rewatch it to see if I can catch it. I guess that's one reason. I was expecting it to be on like my top 10. And when I finished, I was like, that was really good. Why didn't I like enjoy it as like highly as I should have enjoyed it? So
I think it's intentionally a little detached, which I think like maybe is the reason that you're like kind of in a similar place to me, I would think.
I really like espionage thrillers. They're all fun. Soderbergh did a good job. I think Cate Blanchett rips. She's my favorite part of this movie. Very good movie. Shout out Black Bag being the first narrative feature in the history of the Co-Oscars to get nominated for Best Picture and nothing else. Crazy. That was a real crazy time tallying ballots. But it's a good movie.
You're a scumbag. I'm gonna buy the Co-Oscars and change its name. That's what I'm gonna do. That's my plan right now. I'm gonna buy it out. All right, Scott, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Weapons. Nobody had it. All right. Also a contender for one of the most fun movies of the year, especially after that last 20 minutes or so where it goes crazy. But I was hotly anticipating this movie because Barbarian's one of those that I liked it a lot, and I think this guy has something even better. He can take it to another level, with a future movie with Zach Kreger, and he did with this movie. It has a similar sort of thing where it's being told from like multiple perspectives, which we got in Barbarian to some extent, but I feel like he really refined that element of it, and it worked so well with the different personalities that are competing in this movie. The movie grabs you right from the beginning. Narration, again, I'm not anti-VO, and this is proof because I loved the narration at the beginning of this movie that just like says, in the child's voice, here's what happened. The image of them all running out of the house to the George Harrison song, Beware of Darkness, one of the most memorable moments of the year. And then it goes, and it's a horror movie, but it has really strong character work as well. I loved Alden Ehrenreich's performance as the sort of cop who was just having a really terrible day. All of the interactions that he has with Austin Abrams as the homeless guy, like that whole section of the movie was awesome, and really gets like Zach Kreger was a comedian, obviously, before making these movies, and I think he has found a way to work humor into both Barbarian and Weapons in a way that doesn't detract from like the horror and the larger elements of what he's trying to get at. Yeah, it's a memorable villain. Obviously, I don't understand all the awards hype for Amy Madigan, but like I think she is she's memorable. Like Aunt Gladys is like going to be a Halloween costume for people for years now, probably because of this movie. And then yeah, you get to the end and there's just like nothing as far as like a theater moment that really stacked up this year to when he breaks the branch and you just hear the footsteps of all the kids coming running and you realize what's about to happen and then it happens. And again, they bring back the narration in the ending, and I really like the sort of haunting note that it ends you on of, well, some of the kids even started talking again, because you kind of it's that thing of like you kind of wonder what happens to the kids after this, and they give you just enough information but not like too much. So 5 stars, amazing movie. I loved Weapons.
No one else had weapons, right? Yeah, I said it on this, so I'll be brief. It was easy to. I'm not a horror guy, so it was easily digestible for me. So, like, probably that's why it stood so strong with me for the rest of the year. I was fascinated by it. All I knew was kids leave class, 217. That's all I knew going into it. It's awesome. It's just an awesome movie. I love the direction it takes. I kind of get her Oscar buzz, and then I kind of don't either. It's kind of a mixed bag on that one. I think honestly, just looking at all the there's so many good chances for nominations. It's just weird how some of them got and didn't.
Josh Brolin was
But
great.
again, I said it before. Mark Menchaca had my favorite review of the past year on this one. Is just like the common question of like how many like young kids do you think you could take in a fight? And it was like, after this movie, I'm capping it at 17 and no more than that. But let me tell you, there's
Somebody
a
needs
limit
to,
to that.
you have to go watch the actual conversation of Kev on stage and Tony Baker explaining how many kids they could take on. It's fucking hilarious. Please go
It's just
find that somewhere.
I can't believe it's just a conversation I've had with buddies all the time. Is like, how many kids you think? Oh, 30?
I always think of the Game of Thrones scene where Maester Pycelle.
Yeah. That's a
yeah.
perfect example too. It's just like, how many? Oh, fuck, a ton. Well, after this, I'm gonna dial that back a little bit. I just think it's a really good movie. It's really fun. It's one that I'm waiting to go back to, but I can't wait to, because I think that's the fear I have. How will it do on a rewatch? And that's just what I'm a little fearful of, because I don't know once I know the things, but I still think it was awesome. Also really fucking creepy at times. Everybody else, no one had it. Why not? And what'd you think?
I'll go. Make it quick. It's an awesome film. I'm also not the biggest horror guy. I'm getting there a little bit more. And it's movies like these. Extremely intelligent, extremely funny, extremely well acted. What the fuck was the machine gun, though? That's the only question I have. That's it.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
It's provocative, yeah.
Yeah, get some people going.
I really like the structure of how this movie works, how Kreger wrote it. I think that it executes it without feeling too gimmicky. That he kind of naturally kind of moves through each piece of the story and gives you enough here and leaves you on that note where if it gets picked up later, you're like, oh shit, that's what that is. There's a lot of really genuine, like, good scares in this for me that like got me. Like, obviously I knew I was going into a horror movie. I knew it was going to probably have moments where I got scared, but I got so caught up in the movie and the story and trying to like keep up with like the mystery and figure things out that when it turned back into a horror movie for a moment for those jump scares, it like really gripped me. The Josh Brolin reaction where he's like, what the fuck, is like exactly the same reaction I had to the same jump scare alone in that theater. I was like, what the fuck? Love the ending. Really love Josh Brolin in this. I think he's really good. He had a really great year across the board, but he was really good in this. Benedict Wong at the gas station, still probably the scariest thing I saw all year. Makeup for this movie is insane. So very good movie. It's literally
Alden Ehrenreich, very important representation for characters named Paul in movies. Have some mixed feelings about how we are being depicted on screen, but we can talk about that later. This is a movie where this is one of the rare movies where I have read the script before seeing the movie, and I think that really did change the way that I experienced it, because a lot of the surprises and a lot of the reveals and stuff are things that, again, were like known to me before having seen the visual like representation of them, and I kind of regret that. I still think it is a really fun movie. To me, the movie really peaks with the Benedict Wong gas station stuff, and like the stuff after that doesn't quite reach that high, even though it does get really fun, obviously, with the kids with the chase at the very end. But I think like the way the movie builds to that moment, it almost like descends from there in a way that like doesn't lose me, but I think kept it from being like one of my absolute favorites of the year. Like I think it is a great ensemble movie. Like Julia Garner, I think is great. The scene where she's sleeping in the car and then like the hair gets cut. It's like a very like, you know, hair standing up on the back of your neck kind of moment. And it has a bunch of great stuff like that. Like I think the initial Josh Brolin stuff with her is really interesting. I think just where it ends up, even though it has to be a thing like that for it to be this kind of horror movie, it just is a little bit ultimately unsatisfying. The fact that it just is, that is what's happening. It's just real. And Aunt Gladys is what she is. Just limited a little bit for me. Like ultimately turned it again from being like one of my favorites of the year to just being a really great time at the movies. A thing I'll definitely remember, and probably a movie I'll, you know, revisit every few years, but not like an all-time sort of classic. The way that it maybe could have been in a slightly different form. You can definitely tell it's like a very busy movie that Zach Cregger's making this after his friend had passed away and all these things happened to him. So it's just like he put a lot in the movie, and to me, it was just maybe a little bit too much ultimately. But it was still really fun time.
Last little bit for me. Oh, go ahead, Cody.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, last little bit for me, being a teacher, the aggravation at that fucking meeting of the parents. Yo, what do you mean what the fuck is going on in the classroom? Why the fuck don't you know? One, but second, yeah, she shouldn't have been a teacher in any way, shape, or fucking form, because that was not what you do as a fucking teacher. Like, for real, for real. So that was also another thing that got me into this film.
As a famous nap car guy, like I've taken many naps in my car. This movie changed, so I'm not a fan of taking a nap in the car. Not that there's a lot that can cut off my head. I just am not about that life. So yeah. All right, 4.
It was another yikes from previous Eddington. Great movie about how soulless it is to be alive right now. Yeah, this movie I think has some of the most impressive political satire that I've seen, because I'm so resistant to political movies and directors trying to talk down to us maybe about how we should feel about certain political issues. And I thought that this movie just walked such a narrow tightrope. I don't want to say it's a both sides movie like a lot of people have said, because I think there's a clear difference between what the liberal characters are doing wrong and what the conservative characters are doing wrong. But at the end of the day, it's really not even wholly about that divide. It's about the manipulation, right, that's going on behind the scenes with this data center that is pulling everyone's strings and driving everyone apart and trying to stew the discord that we see in this movie and that we see in our own society. And it definitely makes you think a lot about the infinite amount of bot accounts that you see on Twitter nowadays who are just in the replies stirring people up, right, about various political issues. And so much of this movie rang true, whether it's like Emma Stone as the, you know, getting addicted to the conspiracy theories after seeing her mother get addicted to it as well. You know, crazy element of the movie. You have the COVID aspect of the movie, obviously, which I think they did a really good job of portraying that too, because in the beginning, Joe Cross is not even necessarily like a poorly meaning guy. He's like, just, you know, he's just trying to go to the grocery store and they're like, hey, you got to have your mask on. Maybe they're a little bit too aggressive about it or whatever. But he, you know, gets radicalized by this moment and by looking at social media and the power that social media gives him to just, hey, I'm going to make this video, send it out there, and all of a sudden I'm now running for mayor. And so all that stuff is really perceptive. Obviously, you have the young man who ends up turning into Kyle Rittenhouse at the end of the movie, which you know, amazing bit of satire there as well. You have the firework Katy Perry scene, one of the scenes of the year for sure. Just watching Joaquin Phoenix's face during that entire scene. And one of the better, I'm not the biggest Pedro Pascal fan, but one of his better performances as this kind of charlatan type of politician that I think we see a lot of, who on the surface is like fighting for good, but he's not in it for the right reasons, right? As we soon learn. So it's a darkly funny movie. It's an upsetting movie, and it's just, I'm so impressed at Ari Aster. Like I couldn't have been a bigger fan of him, honestly, going into this movie, but I did not think that he could produce something that is this perceptive. And that, some people have said, oh, this movie has gotten better as the years gone on, because I've realized how true it is. I don't know if it's that, or if it was just already true when it was made, and now all of us are just catching up. But either way, he did a phenomenal job with writing and directing this movie.
Yeah, this is my number 7. I mean, Scott covered a lot of the macro stuff. To me, the best part of the movie, though, is the micro stuff. Like the scene with the young son who comes to his parents talking about trying to correct them on their political correctness. And then you just see the gun in the background and like what the dad calls him. Like that stuff is incredible. The ways that these young men are trying to manipulate this young woman to try to get on her good side and to try to sleep with her. The protest scene where they're all like laying down on the ground, that whole back and forth is fucking hilarious. It's unfortunate that Michael Ward has all this stuff in his personal life, because his part of the movie is also like one of the most fascinating parts as well. And I think like the exploration of like his position as a police officer, what he represents as a black man that's also a cop, that's also like just, he's all these different things to different people. And that is, again, like it's exploring 100 different themes all at the same time. I think for the most part, like weaving them in pretty deftly. I think that ultimately the end note, I still don't know how I totally feel about the very end, the fact that like that is his punishment. Because I feel like there's a certain kind of like cruelty to that. But I think like the place that he ends up at, and honestly also like we haven't really mentioned the ending, but like the kind of like the part where the violence is escalated essentially is also incredibly well done. Just as like an action scene, is super visceral and effective. And obviously the kid that you mentioned that turns into the kind of Rittenhouse clone, his involvement with it at the end is fucking insane. And like, there's so many things about the movie that are just like so wild. And it's a real interesting like vibe test to like see how someone felt about this movie. Cause I feel like it's interesting in some ways to be, and it's kind of indicative of how people are sensitive or not sensitive to certain things. But I just think it's it's not even really prescient. It's just a movie with a lot of clarity about the truth of how people acted in a lot of ways that people don't want to confront. Like even probably parts of myself and the way I acted in and around the time of COVID, like that I'm also like, oh yeah, I kind of was doing stuff like this. And so it's really like staring things down the barrel in a way that I think other people are a little bit unafraid to do. And I think that's like something that I just find incredibly admirable. I don't know if the Austin Butler stuff really totally worked for me. Like, I think that's an interesting idea in theory, but that's maybe not fully connected. But so many different things come together in such an interesting way. Again, it's just great social satire, and it makes you feel bad in a way that I think like the real true greats of that subgenre should and are supposed to.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that I've thought about the most as the year has went on. I have seen a lot from the political spectrum over the course of the year, especially where I live. And like old friendships and everything that gets thrown, it's kind of a wild like world that this 2025 has become for me. And it's like the mask thing was very close to home here, where I live, being like the front line of telling people to put on masks and stuff. It was just like, yeah, the best way I could describe it is maybe it's too fresh for me to appreciate it quite.
That's why it's good though. Like I agree and I get it, but that's why it's good. Yeah.
Like I am not healed from those times yet, so like seeing it was kind of at layers of horror movie in aspects of like of what it is and like what I still face on a daily basis and like what the internet is and what people, especially like in a small town where I live, can, get fooled by AI or get fooled by something like that and believe it's real. Like it's just a whole whirlwind, and COVID was like an actual battlefield. Felt like around here, so it's the movie I haven't stopped thinking about since I saw it, which is enough for me to say, it's a solid movie. It's moved up. It's in the 40s for me right now. I think over time could get better, but I don't know. It was very fresh, very and it's a longer movie. I hear Ed Astor is not a lot of people's like bread. I have not seen Beau is Afraid, so I'm not really sure, but I do like his first two.
Ari Aster, right? Not the James Gray film. Ad Astra.
Sorry, whatever. Yeah,
Great movie.
yeah, right. Ed
Great
Astra. Yeah, that movie sucks too. Sorry. That's besides the point. But the only one I hadn't seen is Beau is Afraid, and people said I would hate that. So okay. So, but this one I was dreading, and I felt the runtime was fine, and everything worked really well. And again, I'm a Pedro Pascal's Hollywood's Band-Aid. He gets thrown on everything just to like fix things, and like I think he was solid in this. I think he fit the role and did fine. So, yeah. Anybody else see this movie? What'd you think? Well, I know Rue didn't because he saw the runtime.
I liked it. I don't typically enjoy Ari Aster movies. I'm not really, because he's almost too good at the horror. It's too much for me. Is the way I'll put it. Hereditary and Midsommar are very well-made movies that are not things I would enjoy in what I like watching movies for. But I think Eddington was good. Enjoyed watching it is the wrong way to phrase it, but I thought it was well-made. It was a very good movie. There are definitely parts of it that I don't totally think, like you said, Austin Butler's part doesn't quite work for me. I liked his performance. I just don't think that thread totally landed. And also, like Paul said, I don't really love how the movie very, very ends. I don't exactly know how to feel about it totally, but I think the final set piece, the action sequence, I think is great. I think Joaquin and Pedro's home and all that stuff is really great. I think Pedro is giving a great performance. I think Joaquin's giving a very good performance. I think it's a very good movie. It's one that I'm not going to rush to rewatch. But it is one that I will probably revisit in a year or two, maybe in 4.
Give it like 3 or 6
maybe
rewatches.
4 to 6 years. I'll come back to it.
No, you'll watch it like 3 or
years.
4 more times. You'll
More
finally
years.
get what he was going for,
exactly.
and it will change your opinion.
No.
Yeah,
I get what he's
Tarantino
going
Once
for.
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
get what he's
You'll finally understand. All right. We're on the finals threes. It should go by a little faster because there is some overlap here. So, Coho, what is your 3?
And number 3 is Marty Supreme.
Yikes.
Shut the fuck up. Cool. Okay. Paul, what is your 3?
I think my 3 is going to be pretty unique and maybe surprise some people. My number 3 is 28 Years Later.
Nice.
I think it's just an incredible genre movie, but beyond that, the very obvious part of the movie that really touched me is like the concept of like losing a parent, specifically a mother, and the way that is experienced through this movie, and the way the movie confronts the emotional reality of it alongside him still being in this kind of post-apocalyptic reality where he still has to behave, he has to proceed and move on. But the way the movie handles it too, I think, is just incredibly moving. But even before that stuff even happens, it's just an incredible genre zombie movie. And I think like it manages to be both fun, but also really explores real themes. I mean, it's very obviously like a Brexit movie and a movie about the disenfranchisement of people within the UK and the greater community and how things change so much. It's got one of my favorite small gags in any movie this year with the soldier showing him his like lip fillered out Instagram baddie girlfriend, which is one of the fucking funniest things ever. This kid is just baffled and does not understand what he's looking at whatsoever. That part is just incredible. One of the biggest zombie penises you'll ever seen. So shout out on that front. But just insane zombie action that's super fun and thrilling. Incredible camera work that's so experimental in the ways that it weaves in real life footage and photographs and documentaries to be put in with like what is a pretty conventional zombie movie in some other ways. I just think it's an incredible movie that does so many things so well. And then you just get to the Ralph Fiennes of it all. And that stuff is just incredibly touching and so carefully executed. And and I just thought it was incredible, and the way, like the fact that it ends in that way too, really kind of brings it home. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's really good in it too, as this kind of like dirtbag father who's like kind of trying to be the too tough guy, but you kind of understand his plight too. Like he doesn't know how to proceed. He's grown up in this weird world, and now he's got this wife who's in this condition that he doesn't understand, that they can't really diagnose because of the way their community's built. It's got all these different things that I think check all these different almost like boxes, so to speak. But again, the thing that elevates it is just the way that it confronts grief and loss, and the way that it reframes a lot of that stuff to not be seen in the same way. And I think that stuff's so beautiful. I'm super bummed out. I still have not got to see the Bone Temple yet, but obviously I'm incredibly excited for that. But I just think it's just Danny Boyle back on his shit. And like, it just is a sick fucking genre movie that just has so much more depth. And that's like one of my favorite things in the world, is like a movie that's fun and has these genre elements, but also is about more than just that. Like it does both things and does them both so well. And it's just such an amazing movie. Fucking banger.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise that it made a person's list. I think I was surprised that it was yours, and I was surprised that it was 3 for the year. Not saying like you're not able to see it. I said it on Tuesday's show. I was really confused by this movie. Like just the marketing. I don't really, not saying the movie itself is confusing. The movie is very straightforward. I got that part. But like I was not a big 28 anything. I watched the first one. I thought it was good. Never saw the second one until recently. And then
second one's fine. It's not that great, honestly.
While I went to watch this one, the marketing for Bone Temple came out, and then there was a Bone Temple in this one, and I was like, where am I? What are we seeing? What is the point? I don't know what we're doing here. I was really lost and confused. Watch this. Great film overall. Really enjoyed it. I thought those elements you talked about, losing a parent, dealing with that situation, crazy. I thought like Ralph Fiennes is like, he's in there for a very short bit. I think he's really good in this movie. I like the score. That chase scene near the end with the monster dong, like wild, terrifying, like the fear level and that, like you're one to just face zombies in general. Good fucking luck. Like that is terrifying in general. And then see Ray Fiennes like kind of like just put it in its place. It's such an interesting movie, and I'm with you on that, because like I struggle with zombie movies so much because they are normally void of human like anything, because that's kind of where they roll into a different, like it's normally just survival, and like the creatures that they are coming at you are not living, and they're dead, and they're just no real thing. And that I think this movie was really smart with how it tackled other elements inside that genre, which I thought was refreshing to the time. So
I'm gonna say something maybe controversial. I find zombie and like this kind of post-apocalyptic fiction kind of weirdly comforting. Like I think something about the simplicity of like they have pretty straightforward objectives, and like people are not confused. People don't care about the wrong shit for the most part. Everyone is just kind of focused on a common goal and has to come together to fight this. Like weirdly, I find that comforting, and like just the idea of being in that. Not that I would want to live in it, but I find watching it to be very soothing in a strange way. And also, I didn't mention her name, but Jodie Comer is unbelievable in this. Like she is so fucking good.
Yeah.
What an actress.
Everybody else, I think, have seen this. Scott, did you see this?
I've not seen it. No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You, Coho and Rue, go for it.
Go ahead, Rue.
Yeah. If you were at all at Simpson and Shy Lewis Perry in the first one, can't wait for you to see the Bone Temple. Yeah. Shout out to Nia DaCosta and Hilda Goldaughter, because they need to keep doing movies together forever. I love this film. Again, one of my favorite years in horror, which is crazy, Cody, because I'm with you, because I don't like horror much. And it's the same thing as Weapons. Intelligent, funny when it needs to be, moving. Alfie is great. I very, very much enjoyed this film.
I liked it a lot. I think my favorite elements of it being Ray Fiennes, who I stand very much. And the idea, just like the Bone Temple, is like such a cool thing. And of course, the very final cameo, which I love, and getting to see more of that person in Bone Temple is exciting. The reason why I ended up liking Bone Temple more because all the things I like about it are like the primary focuses of this one are the primary focuses of the next one, which is why that one rang stronger for me. But I think that this is a really, really good way to reinvent the world of 28 Days Later to kind of introduce us back into that world after so much time has passed with new characters that I think you can really connect to in a very real way and see a totally new world born out of the one that we saw in the first film, kind of how it was invented. So, good sequel. Does all the things that a good sequel should do.
Okay. Rue, what is your 3?
My number 3 is The Long Walk. So this one with Mark Hamill doing Mark Hamill things is the like, you are the lowest point of this film for sure. I will say he works much better on rewatches. So he doesn't take me out of it. But this is not anything new, really, being Stephen King's first thing he's ever written. You see the Hunger Games, you see whether or not, I don't know if Battle Royale came out, but whatever. And it's very reflective of this, and it's very brutal, and it's very straightforward. This confirmed another thing about me in terms of my love of movies. If performances outweigh story for me, and if I absolutely love the performances, the story does not need to be contemplative. It doesn't need to be anything unique. It just needs to be good. And I fucking bawled like a baby in the theater. That it is my second favorite ensemble of the entire year. Or that, or at least tied for second. But like, I think I've made multiple rewatches on both of those two films, and I think I love this ensemble from front to back. I think that a lot of people didn't like Karate Kid Legends, but I like the fact that Ben Wang is getting to show way more range than the shit he's in, and I loved him in this film. I cannot remember dude's name, like the fourth guy, Niet or whatever what's his name? The fourth musketeer in The Long Walk.
Oh.
I thought
not the kid from Jojo Rabbit, right? That's the
not the kid from Jojo Rabbit. Come on. Give me his name. It's a very hard to pronounce name. Tut Neot. I thought he was low-key, if not for my favorite part of the film, my favorite part of the film. It's a long walk. Everybody dies except one of the two main guys. His death fucking crushed me. Absolutely just tore my heart out in that theater. I loved their interactions. I loved the camaraderie they built. And Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson are going to be the stars of the next generation. But David Johnson, whether you liked his accent or not, is a fucking brilliant Denzel Washington level kind of dude if he is given what he needs to. You have not seen Waste Man, and I have seen Waste Man. And
just be careful what you say around Cody with that comparison.
When I say level, I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be the same as Denzel, but he has the skill level to get there. And the difference is, a more apt comparison might be Jeffrey Wright, because people keep, like, at least the black community, say, who's a better actor, Denzel or Jeffrey? Because Denzel does Denzel things, and Denzel is the greatest actor of all time, hands down. But Jeffrey Wright actually has range. Whoever says Denzel doesn't have range, fuck you. But there's truth behind Denzel doing Denzel things, Denzel the whole time, and it is better than anybody doing anything. Denzel is the greatest actor of all time. David Johnson is my next up. He is absolutely brilliant. He is emotional. He is funny. He is heart-wrenching. He is powerful. He just, between this, and again, a lot of people have not seen Waste Man. It comes out next year. Just the amount of charisma and gravity that he has in this film just confirmed that to me after Alien Romulus. I love everything about this film. I love the story. I love the people. I love the camaraderie. And I will rewatch it over and over and over and just feel all the feelings the entire time.
I wish I felt like 20% of what Rue felt during this film because I did not. I just have a hard problem because the movie's one, I was very anticipated. I was really looking forward to this movie. And I feel like all the tense moments and all the situations are just like from the get go on the long walk, we know who's surviving. And that's just one of the downsides that they try to build up these characters, the other characters that are dying and like they're going to matter, but they really just don't try to sell us that they really matter at certain points. Like you feel bad because the group is walking and they're been together and these people are not going to make it. So it's just like that loses an emotional element for me. And like, I don't know. I didn't gravitate towards most of it. I don't know. Not a dry eye. I was not crying at all. I don't know what you guys saw. I guess maybe a real. I don't know, but I was very let down with watching this, like because I really wanted to. There's two movies that I wanted to love this year. Long Walk was one of them, and F1 was the other. And I wanted both of them to just be absolutely excellent because one, I'm a massive F1 fan, and then this was just like it seemed like I was always described Long Walk as like a brutal version of like Hunger Games, and which of course is an element. I just don't feel like they capture that. I don't know. I don't disagree with some of these acting performances. Like, you fuck off about the Denzel stuff. That was just unnecessary shit to bring up on this for no reason. But other than that, yeah, that's the one element. It's the one I wanted to like a lot more. I just didn't love, didn't hate, just didn't love. Long Walk. Not everybody see it? Didn't see it. Doesn't make sense. Scott, that checks. But didn't everybody else? What do you guys think?
I did really like this one too. I didn't have a lot of expectation or anything going in. I didn't really know what to expect. So the movie kind of does tee up that like you know where this is going, but I do think the movie does a good job of making you care about the people along the way on the journey. I think they did succeed at that for me. I do think David Johnson's really good in the movie. I was really impressed by his performance. And I think Cooper Hoffman like continues to demonstrate he's a very good actor. It's just he's his dad, obviously. Because of his dad, you figure that would be the case. He's living up so far to that kind of promise of it. But I think that David Johnson is it was definitely kind of the meteor role, the standout. I think he totally crushed a home run performance there too. I think he's very fun. And I'm excited to see what he does next. I've only seen him in that and Alien Romulus. I think he's very good in both. So he is a guy that I'm excited to see in other things. So
I don't know when the release date is, but look out for Wasteman.
I added it to my watch list upon you mentioning it, so I don't lose it. I do just want to say I did leave this movie very angry. That was like this movie has an ending that I think elicits that sort of response. And I think that it succeeded in that way where I was definitely sour walking out of the theater, not at the movie, but about what it says at the end. It definitely hit me a little bit. So I definitely needed an hour or two to cool off after watching The Long Walk, but I did enjoy it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think David Johnson like is the fucking truth, and like I'm almost like up where Rue feels about him. But this really reminds me of, this is going to be a strange comparison. I don't mean the movie itself, but watching Philadelphia, seeing Denzel and Tom Hanks, and I'm like, these are both great actors, but like there's kind of levels to this shit, and like that's kind of how I feel where I love Cooper Hoffman, but to me David Johnson is like kind of blowing him away. Overall, the movie, I really like. If you're going to tell me how your movie's going to end in the first like 10 minutes, you have to really fucking land the plane. And to me, it just did not. Like, I thought the ending felt so flat. It was so obvious, and it's really trying to make you feel like you don't know how it's going to end. And it's like, literally, we know exactly who's going to win, what they're going to do right after. Like, all that stuff was so obvious to me that it took me out of it. I liked some of the interplay with the kids when there's more of them, like the weird Charlie Plummer character and all that stuff. But like, ultimately, I think it kind of like just goes on a little bit too long. Sorry to do the pun, but the two of them are great. I think the movie itself is just really, and the whole backstory with the dad, that shit to me was really, really bad. Like, I thought that was kind of terrible. Like the scenes with like Mark Hamill, like the weird in their house, like that really fell really flat for me. So I think that didn't help with the ending either. But like the two of them, I liked. The rest of it really like, it did not move me whatsoever. Like I thought the rest of it was really quite just especially once it gets down to the end.
I will
You
say,
said-
yeah, I will say that I actually did not know which way we were going to go, whether it was going to be Cooper or it was going to be David. But the end, like the very last shot and the way it was edited, that was kind of weird for me. I was like, oh, okay. That was a little like, is it supposed to be like ambiguous or what's going on?
I think
That was the only
Stephen
part I
King
was
trying
like,
to like really end stuff sometimes he doesn't exactly know how to totally get there. So you're left with like, how do we really end this very
They do.
Yeah.
To be fair, the movie is a different ending from the book. I
Yes,
do
it is.
believe it is a.
It is
flip
different.
who-
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but it's the same spirit of the ending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
how Paul described it is exactly how I felt when it felt like if I understand there's movies that foreshadow how this is going to go, but like if they stick the landing, like it doesn't matter. I felt the same way as Paul. I was like, I get all this. It just wasn't. I wanted it to be better, and I'm with you on David Johnson. There's nothing wrong. I think he is going to be great. It's just Denzel's early, but that's fair.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, but hey, he definitely could. He's got everything. He shows the most emotional range in this movie for sure than everybody else, and I took him the most serious. So, Scott, what's your?
All right, my number 3 is the Taiwanese film Left-Handed Girl.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so this is the solo directorial debut of Shi Ching-soo, who co-directed Sean Baker's first movie, Take Out, with him. She co-produced a lot of Sean Baker's other movies with him, and Sean Baker is actually a co-writer on this movie. So when I see that, it already gets me pumped. And the movie delivered on exactly what I wanted. It's this slice of life movie about a group of 3 women, a mother and her 2 daughters. One of them is older. She's about late 20s or early 20s or late teens. And then a little girl who's about 6 or 7, I think. I can't remember the exact age, but and it is just one of these movies that just sort of follows them through their day-to-day life. For most of the running time, the mom runs a food cart at night in the night market in Taipei. And all 3 of the characters have sort of their own stuff going on. The mom is about to lose her food stand because she's sending a lot of her money to the father of her older daughter, who is dying, and they haven't been together for a long time, but she's still sending him money, and that's causing some discord. The older daughter is like the classic, wanted to go to college probably, but never got out of Taipei, never got out of here because she's having to take care of the little girl a lot. And the little girl is also getting up to a bunch of shenanigans. There's some interesting meerkat content in this movie. Also, the title comes from this like Taiwanese superstition that if you use your left hand comes from the devil, and if you use your left hand to do anything, that it's going to result in poor outcomes for you. And she believes this because of like her crazy uncle who tells it to her, and that's driving a lot of what goes on with her in this movie. So I just love being immersed in this world. The director makes it her own, but it's hard not to think about, obviously she and Sean Baker are interested in the same type of stories and same type of worlds of these people, on the margins, these types of people who aren't represented on screen a lot, just putting us in their lives and letting the characters develop as we see them go through their day-to-day lives, not forcing anyone in any direction, just, letting them sort of exist. And it all sort of builds to this last scene, which may lose some people. Number one, because it's a sort of very convenient way that all the characters come together for this one final scene. And then also because there's a twist. I'm not going to say what it is because most people have not watched this movie, but it's on Netflix. Again, watch it. It's on Netflix. And the twist may lose some people. I thought it worked for me. And it felt like the natural breaking point for all of these characters. So I didn't mind that the scene feels a little bit more melodramatic than the rest of the movie. But cast wise, I think they're all three of the women are terrific. But I would say that Shi Won Ma, who plays the older daughter, Ian, that's probably my best actress of the year, especially after the movie ends. It makes you want to go back and watch her performance a second time because you realize there's probably a lot more going on there that you missed the first time. So absolutely love this movie. It's so totally in my wheelhouse. I hope that Shi Ching-su will keep making movies like this because Sean Baker's probably going to go off. I mean, he's still going to do his own thing. You know, he's Sean Baker, but I want to keep seeing these types of movies, and I hope that people like Sean Baker or Chloe Zhao aren't getting too far away from making those types of movies because now they've achieved much more acclaim.
Dude, I thought I was going to have this groundbreaking shit that felt like this. Just go ahead.
I bet you like this movie. This feels like a movie that you would like, but
yeah, because I walked in here, I was like, it felt like Sean Baker type-esque, and I was like, this felt like a thing. And of course, me not looking shit in if they work together, like that would make perfect sense. So thanks, Scott, for telling the only thing I would make myself feel a little smarter. No, I definitely love this. It's a slice of like all together. I liked being in this world, and again, like I hate when I have to cram so many movies. That's why YLS has kind of went away for the most part, is because it's a lot of work to just be able to watch everything I possibly can to make sure I can talk about it instead of like, I didn't see that. That's fine. Move on. But this is one that I watched late at night, and I was worried about starting it because I was like, is this going to keep my attention? And it did. I just liked being with all these characters. I didn't mind the ending. I'm surprised that might not work for other people. The twist was fine with me. I had no issue with that. I wouldn't be surprised if I was one of the people that came in, but like the ending's stupid. This twist is dumb. But I was along for the ride. I enjoyed it. So, and I agree with her performance is outstanding. I think all the performances in this movie are really outstanding. And I'm with you. I like Sean Baker's movies. I like when they take people that are not like, I don't know, like top A-list, like overall actors or whatever, and pop them into stuff and let them see. I kind of like it feels, because I feel like some of those performances just feel more genuine and more real, and they're not like playing a character. They're like doing. It worked for me. So I really appreciate you, because there was no way that I would have thought about seeing this movie if you didn't bring it on. So I appreciate that. Did anybody else see this movie? I think Rue and Paul reacted to it. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I will. Well, so Chi-Ching actually kind of is like a former coworker of mine. Like I used to be the assistant for this creative program run through the state of Hawaii, and she was like one of the coaches for like fellows in this program. And so like over the course of a couple of years had sort of, I'm not pretending like we're best friends or whatever, but like kind of have somewhat of a relationship. And I've always found her collaboration with Sean Baker to be like underappreciated. And I think that makes sense because it's like the white guy everybody knows who has the brand as a filmmaker. And like I was talking about this with Scott. Like if I see one more Letterboxd review that mentions Sean Baker not Chi-Ching, so like I'm not putting my head in a fucking blender. Like I would love to give her so much of the credit of the way this movie looks too. Is very like, it's similar but very different. Like it's super digitized. Everything's like very light, bright neons. It's very Taiwanese. And I think it's incredible slice of life kind of movie. I think like the dynamics between them is super interesting. Like the oldest daughter, her job at the beetle nut stand, which I think is very going to be interesting for Americans to process because that's not a thing that we have here, but that's basically like a stimulant kind of style drug thing that people just kind of buy on the streets. And it's a very common job for old teenage girls and people in their early 20s. But a lot of it's fascinating. Like some of the sexual politics of the movie are really interesting about her relationship to her boss at the stand that she works at. Obviously, I hate the son, like the mom's brother, who's like in the States. That guy fucking sucks, by the way. Classic like guy from Asia who went to America, the one American child that a parent is so proud of, but actually sucks. But I think like it is, again, like just a great portrait of these people's lives and the way that they come together and apart. And like, it's interesting that they've returned to Taipei after like moving away from the city to move away from their life and having to come back and reckon with their past in a different kind of way. It does feature one of the greatest stunts I've ever seen, which is the meerkat and his famous jump. So shout out for that. But just a really nice, poetic, moving slice of life movie that I think is pretty darn good. So yeah, recommend it for sure.
As much as the son sucked, Johnny, great fucking character. Love that guy. He's so cool.
He's a pretty cool.
What really interested me in this movie, there's a lot of dichotomy in a lot of different aspects. One, like the back and forth between the handheld and then steady shots was really cool. The pacing kind of went back. While I was watching it, I felt like the pacing ramp up and then slow down, and then ramp up and then slow down. And then I was like, no, this is a slice of life movie. That's kind of what life is like. So I really like that. And then, I mean, this might not be dichotomy, but like the fine line between generational trauma and bad decision-making. Like, where does one stop and where does one start?
The personal responsibility of yourself versus what is not your fault, basically.
Yeah, and like leaving it up to like, hey, people go through this shit and this is what life is like. And like all the combating forces that this movie presents, because life is a whole bunch of combative forces. I really enjoyed that. I will say I felt the slice of life and kind of the slow pace sometimes. So that's why it's not on the lists and not like one of the top international films for me. But I really enjoyed watching the film.
Also, the whole side plot with the grandma and the like trafficking people in and out of the country is insane. That part is crazy, super random, but interesting.
Gotta believe that that's based on some reality. But
I've not seen Left-Handed.
All right. Go, you're 2.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Sinners.
Yikes.
Cool. I'm just chilling.
Paul, you're 2.
I will be able to talk about my 2. My number 2 is The Secret Agent.
Yeah, I had that.
So it's just like, it's a type of movie I really love, which is like a basically normal everyday guy is put into a situation where he has to become like a detective or a revolutionary or something because of the life circumstances that have been fed to him. And Wagner Moore's character is put in this position not because of something he did, but because of the way that like slow creep of fascism encroached onto his life. And I think like the way it portrays that is incredible. It's a really cool, like in media res, you don't know what exactly is happening when the movie starts, and then it kind of unfolds this epic tale as it goes along. And it's a great movie too about like these sub communities and the people that you find yourself kind of allied with. The character of Donna Sebastian, which is like just a fucking icon, absolute legend. She is the best. But also like the movie is very interestingly experimental too, in terms of the way that it uses quote unquote the form and like the structure of it and the things outside of what's just kind of the main narrative of the movie. Maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie is the scene that they have a dinner with Wagner Moore and his wife and the guy who is like basically trying to oversee the program that they're running, and his shitheeness really coming to bear, and the kind of ways that they kind of put up with it to a point, and then they're fucking over it, and they don't want to deal with this bullshit anymore. And I just think it's a great epic story about this man being forced into these circumstances, like I was saying before, and the way he adapts to them and the way that it changes him. And it's such a great allegory for the way that people's lives are being impeded upon by this system in a way that's obviously very familiar to a lot of things in our current day real life, but is very pertinent to this period of time in Brazil. And there's all this great stuff going on in the background. Like it's all these little side characters. You have this, the lead detective and the whole side plot too with Udo Kier as the survivor, and the way that these douchey government guys perceive him because they don't speak the same language. They don't even understand who he is. And they think he's like this soldier, not realizing what he actually is because they're idiots. Like there's so many levels to the movie. And I think like the way it looks is unbelievable. The way they recreate this time period is amazing. Like the way the city blocks and these buildings and rooms, and even the movie theater where the one guy is just like straight up getting dome watching The Omen, which like who amongst us? But it's just an incredible portrait of a time and place where people are, again, like dealing with the kind of things that we're kind of dealing with right now. Is like a system that is very clearly designed to like push you out and not give a fuck about things that you care about, the people in your life, and the way that people are forced to stand up, not because they want to, because they have to. And I think it makes such an interesting choice near the end, the way that it kind of contextualizes his story eventually. And I think it just comes full circle in such a satisfying way. Wagner Moore is an actor I actually don't always love. Like, I don't love him in Civil War, but I think there are times that he's so fucking good. And like, this to me is like the best I've ever seen him. Between this and Dope Thief, like, I'm kind of turning the corner on him as an actor. But just an extraordinary movie about kind of a more or less ordinary man that's forced to become more than that. He both is and isn't a secret agent. Like, all that stuff is just baked in so well. But what a movie.
This was my 7. I really loved watching this one. You kind of allude to it. There's the moment where you kind of put things together, the piece that you need to kind of understand exactly what you have been watching. Knocked me out. I think that Mora's line delivery of that moment specifically is really good. You kind of touched on it, but what I love most about the movie is the way that you kind of see how this system and this government is crafting the narrative of what you're seeing. Even at times, like, you're with Mora and you like see his story, but anytime you kind of move away, the story of like the shark attack and like exactly the thing in the park, I think is really clever and really well done. That I wasn't really expecting that kind of move. But I think the thing that has stayed with me the most is the final stretch, the home stretch of this movie, where there's the most sort of tension as kind of things start to kind of close in. I think is really well done. I think that is a phenomenal extended sequence. And through it all, like, Mora's own sort of almost subplot to his own main plot of wanting his own legacy, and I like reminders and answers of where he comes from and how that ties into the end is just so great. I think I agree. I think this is an absolute knockout performance from Mora. But I really loved, you said Dona Sebastian, but I also really love the guy who his dad at the theater, his father-in-law at the theater. I forgot his name. He's so good. He's so sweet. I love him through the whole movie. But yeah, a knockout of a movie. I loved it.
So this is the last movie I watched before tonight, so it's very fresh, but like, I haven't really processed much beyond like I'll forget so much that happens. It is hard for a movie that when you go into it, it has already gotten so much praise and so many like award nominated, and then you're like, oh, like, I hope it lives up to everything that is presented, and I think it does that in folds. I think it's such a smart. I was very fearful of the runtime. I feel like it's a very long runtime, especially for international film that I'm not great with keeping attention. But this one, I think, is shot like. I think him as the main actor, I think he is absolutely fantastic, and like, he keeps your attention through the entire thing. And I loved all the side characters throughout the movie and like how his life is impacted. I think that's very interesting. So I'm just truly fascinated by this film. I'll probably have more things to think about it later, but I basically watched it and 30 minutes later I sent out the call, so like, it was pretty fresh. But no, I'm really glad I got to see it, and he's definitely deserving of a best actor nom. That's without doubt. I think he's great. I haven't seen much I've seen him and stuff because I've looked at my letterbox to see what he's been in, but like, unless he's been like absolutely outstanding in The Gray Man that I saw, like, I haven't seen that one. But other than that, he hasn't caught my radar.
You don't like him in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
I didn't know he was in it, but that's perfect.
He's the wolf.
Oh, great wolf.
He was unrecognizable. Huh?
He is unrecognizable.
Completely. Didn't know. He doesn't have red eyes in this one. It's weird. What? Anybody else see this? And
I want to see it so bad, but not yet.
It was the first movie for my first film festival ever. It was the first movie I saw at TIFF. And outside of everything y'all already said, the biggest thing for me, it was a weird experience because I felt the runtime, but I was never out of it. Like I could tell how long this film was, but I was so interested, and I think it's because that opening scene at the gas station is one of the most interesting scenes of the year. And that was like, what is this movie? What are we about to get into? Because what's happening right now is crazy. And that was the entire film the rest of the way, where it's like, man, this is taking a long time, but cool. Yeah, I'm here.
What's interesting is even just the title of the movie makes you see the opening scene differently, because you think he's going to turn out to be like one thing, you know, and I don't want to give away too much for Scott, but then it changes into something a lot different and like it evolves.
I just love the lady after that too. It's like, you don't give him shit. Like, just like, it's like you gave him your cigarettes, don't give him shit. Like, it's just was
the goat, bro.
Yeah, so fun.
Great movie.
Okay.
My two. One battle after another.
Yikes.
And this is also my two, so I think we're just going to go to ones now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, based on like yikes and stuff, my only thought process is, if I'm going to go silent, should it be the first movie of this round, or should it be the last movie of this round?
Maybe first.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that.
Scott,
since I just didn't talk there, so yeah.
Scott, why don't you do your one, and then we'll go Coho, and then end with Root. But like,
right.
So I'll give me a sign when I can come back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Same for me.
I will stand by my Letterboxd take from out of the theater. This is my favorite movie since 2022. Marty Supreme, #1. This movie is electric. From frame one, this movie just has that energy to it where you just sit there and you're like, this is it. I'm watching a movie, and you know you're watching something special from the second you hear that first note of the Daniel Lopatin score. I am a huge Uncut Gems fan, but after watching this movie, I was like, he made it better somehow. Like, I know that it feels familiar, like, and you will, in the middle of this movie, you'll be like, okay, this is kind of just Uncut Gems, where he's just making these crazy decisions, and we're all just sitting here on the edge of our seat, just waiting to see if he's going to be able to get out of this situation, and if so, how is he going to be able to do it? But it's better because of the character of Marty and the performance of Timothée Chalamet. Howard Ratner is just kind of a dick the whole movie, right? And that doesn't really ever change. And when he dies, it's like, well, it sucks that he died, but that's kind of the way that it had to end. There's so many more layers to the character of Marty Supreme, because yes, he is self-absorbed. Yes, he is narcissistic. Yes, he's making so many choices where you just want to shake him and say, what are you doing? But there is some humanity there that you just can't get past. It's the fact that he's just, sort of down on his luck kid. I think about when he gives his mom the stone. It's like a rock or a stone or something, right? And is talking about how this is our people, right? Like, kind of like grounding him as far as, okay, there's a real reason that he's doing this, right? Like he's having to like scrap for everything that he, has gotten in life. He's getting screwed over by other characters at various times too. Like, I just think even in the beginning of the movie, when his boss at the shoe salesman at the shoe store is supposed to pay him the money and he doesn't. And that kind of is the catalyst for a lot of what ends up happening. And so even as you are like disgusted by the choices he's making and everything, you can't get past that. And that's what makes that last moment so breathtaking of the movie, because it's building up to that moment where, he's going to see his kid. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, I just don't know if this is going to work for me. I just don't know. Like, I just don't know. And then his face, like his reaction, Timothée Chalamet's reaction in that one moment, I was like, I believed it like immediately after seeing that reaction, because just what he does in that moment, it was just so satisfying to me, of like, because I enjoyed this movie so much, and to see it stick the landing in that way. I think I'm such a huge Timothy Chalamet fan, and this is generational what he does in this movie. Like, it is the role he was born to play, and I'm not sure he'll ever top it. Just an electric movie to watch. Insane supporting cast. I mean, the people that show up in this movie: George Gervin, Penn Jillette, Abel Ferrara, just unbelievable. And of course, the more major roles, Kevin O'Leary is a terrible person in real life, but he's really good in this movie. I mean, he's acting on Shark Tank, so I don't think it's like a huge stretch for him to do this. And I don't think enough people are talking about Gwyneth Paltrow's performance either, because there's a whole story in this character, right, of this actress who, is past her prime and is just trying to capture something again. And I really felt for her in the scene where they're reading out the review of her play to her, and she just is breaking down because it was obviously a terrible review of her new play. And I thought there was so much texture to that character, and again, an actress I'm not always a fan of. So so impressed. Technically amazing movie. It just has it. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but like, this movie just has the juice. And just when it was over, I was levitating like I haven't since 2022 again. So I have to make that claim. I think it's my favorite movie since then. But there you go, Marty.
Rude, what was this for you?
Mine was 8.
Okay. So I think when the Safdie brothers split, I was very curious to see what their individual contributions and and that's all. It's the same thing as when the Coens split. You want to know who did what. And I think watching Marty Supreme, what I took away is I think what Benny did for Josh is hold him back a little bit. Not like in terms of how good he can be, but in the sense that when you watch Marty Supreme, it's epic. Everything is done to the fullest extent that he can do it. The opening credits would not be the opening credits of this movie if Benny was involved. Like, you just know. Like, there's a little bit of a restraint that I think Benny brought to him that made it maybe more commercial or maybe more accessible, but you can clearly tell, like, when Benny makes Smashing Machine, that's kind of his vibe, is he kind of made something a little more, it's not like it's a bad movie. It's just he went for something a little different than what Josh went and doubled down on what he did last time. And I think he crushed. I think you're absolutely right. I think this is Chalamet's best performance, and I don't think he will ever beat it. I think this is like when we think about Timothy Chalamet decades from now, at the end, when it's all done in the history books, the one role that's listed first in his headline is Marty Supreme. And I think that he did it. I think he crushed. I hope he wins. He deserves it. I loved Odessa Azion. I have not watched I Love LA. I had no idea who she was, but I thought she was phenomenal. I think she goes toe-to-toe with Timothy in so many scenes, which was just incredible to me. She's my winner this year for supporting actress. I think she should have been nominated. I think she's amazing. But I agree. I think every element of this, even down to like the collaborators that he swapped out, he like swapped out for people who are like not only like technically proficient legends in their fields, but like people that really fit what he's going for. Darius Kanji, Jack, he got like legends at their like respective technicalities, and they delivered in full for him. So I thought it was great. I think the thing about Marty that draws me to it is that he is such a character that is so flawed, is so troubled, that you watch and you can see 1,000 problems with him, and at the end of the day, you still just want to hug him. So many times you want to fucking throttle him. You want to punch him in the throat and be like, stop, like, chill out. But I think there are a lot of moments where he's charming, and you see it in this kid that you're like, he's going after what he wants, and he's doing it in bad ways, and he's willing to fuck people over, and he's willing to do shitty things, and that's not cool. But at the end of the day, you almost have to respect the commitment and the passion of how he feels in a way where you're like, you want him to turn out right. And you like you said, there's that humanity to him that Howard Rattler doesn't have. where you're like Howard's just an asshole, and because he's Adam Sandler, you like him, but like he's a dick. Whereas like with Timothy, like yes, there are so many moments where you're like, dude, you're a dumb kid, but you're like, but god damn it, kid, I hope you turn out all right, because there's something about you that I can't speak to why I like you, but I do in a weird way. And then many times he is a totally unlikable person, but I think that Safdie absolutely crushed. I think this movie is amazing. I think it is Safdie's masterpiece, and I can't wait to see what he does next. I have no idea how you top this in any way or how you follow this in any way, but it's a great movie. It's one that stuck with me since I watched it the first time. Go ahead, Ruth.
Shout out to Deep Voice Ted Williams. Shout out to Tyler the Creator, and shout out to
Tyler was great.
shout out to two of my favorite New York Knicks fans. Timothy, you are good anywhere with any New Yorker ever. And shout out to Luke Mansley. Trey Young looks like my dad's dick from the Big Bong videos. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Cody.
Nice.
He's just not even looking.
Yeah.
Well, Coho talked for 7 hours, so you just think it was his movie.
I disagree with everything that was said, by the way.
Me too.
Not a good
Fucking
single point
crazy.
made.
Poor shit taste. Horrible
Yeah.
movie. I just kept looking up, and Scott was done, and then Coho just kept talking. It was crazy.
It's my 3.
Was it your number one?
It was my 3.
That's crazy. I can't wait to hear the.
I thought Coho talking about how much he loved Kevin O'Leary's personal life was a little weird, but you know,
Yeah.
you can do it as whatever. Here you go. You're the guest, I guess.
It was a weird vibe.
Oh,
I hope Coho's okay because now he's going to have to talk again. Do you need water? I got it. All right. So what's your one? No one will see this coming.
No one will see this coming. My number 1 is Ryan Johnson's Wake Up Dead Man. I am an absolute number 1 in the bag for anything Ryan Johnson does with this franchise. I'm just in the bag for all these Knives Out movies. They're made for me in a way that I geek out such obnoxiously over. I love murder mysteries. They're my favorite things. And I love what Ryan Johnson does with each one, how Knives Out is like a how done it, and Glass Onion is a why done it, and like different ways to take the who done it and make it different. And I think what he did with Wake Up Dead Man that was super interesting is he did all. He actually did a who done it. He actually did a who done it and made it so different than what I was expecting. I was on the edge of my seat trying, like I let myself get taken by the movie in trying to figure out the mystery in a way that I don't do in murder mysteries. I want to try and solve them, which is kind of part of the fun. And in this one, I was like, Benoit Blanc's going to solve this at the end, and I'll be excited to hear how he does it because I'm fucking stumped. So I think the cast in this is great. As I mentioned, Josh Brolin, who's great in Weapons. I think he's really great in this too. I think he does a really good job as the priest. But I think my favorite performances of the year are like 1A, 1B, Chalamet, and Josh O'Connor in this. I think Josh O'Connor's really profound in this. I think it is very funny that my favorite movie of last year and my favorite movie of this year both have to do with faith in very different ways. Because I think what Wake Up Dead Man does, which I think is really interesting, is explore the idea of how your faith, in fact, what it means to you and what you choose to follow it with. What do you choose? How do you choose to let that move you? And I think that is it's a really profound idea. I think Ryan Johnson really gets into it like in really cool ways. I think Josh O'Connor has that really great scene on the phone that I think everyone loves to talk about for good reason, because I think it's that and the introduction to Benoit in the church, I think, are the two scenes that I love the most in this movie, where he's like, I'm sorry, for a moment I felt like a priest again, and it like makes you just like, it kind of makes you go like, oh, poor guy. But I do think the cast is great across the board. I really like Jeremy Renner in this. I know a lot of people didn't like Jeremy Renner in this. I thought he was fun. I thought he was really fun at just being weird and like kind of a dick. Andrew Scott's great. But it was nice to see Thomas Hayden Church kind of in a movie again and not being the Sandman, because I do think he's kind of fun when he's used right, and he's used right here. But man, yeah, I've seen this many times now. It climbs up the list further and further for me. It's tough because of how much I love that first movie, but there's so many things about this that speak to me that I love, where it's like some days I think this is getting really close to that first Knives Out and how much I love it. So great movie.
Well, that was the best original screenplay of the 20th and 21st century.
The best written word by the human mind, I believe.
Rue, you have this, right?
Yes,
You had it. Was it 9 for you, Rue?
I have it at 9. Yeah,
okay. I had it at 8, so I guess I'll go first. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the other 2 Knives Out movies, but they weren't like on my list or anything, and this is the best one in my opinion. Of course, notorious comedy hater like me, this one has the least comedy in it, so that's why I liked it the most. But no, I just think the ideas in this movie about faith are something that speak to me too, as you know, I've been raised religious my whole life and have a very complicated relationship with that now, because you know, you look at the people in the public eye who identify as religious, and it's like they're playing a different sport, so to speak. And I think this movie, so it's nice to see a movie that is actually affirmational of the type of faith that I think people should have, and models the values that I think people should have. And the fact that I find something very moving about the fact that Benoit Blanc refuses to solve the mystery himself, because he understands that it's more important for Glenn Close's character to experience this herself, right? Experience this confessional moment herself. And I find that very powerful. I find the idea of just unpacking the creation myth and what the church, especially in the modern day, has done to women, as very perceptive. And Glenn Close being portrayed as this woman who kind of just has carried the church on her back for many, many years, despite the fact that it, you know, turned against her long before that. I think that's the experience of many women in the Christian church nowadays. And I think Ryan Johnson, I'm just surprised that he would portray something like that. I wouldn't have thought that he could go to this level. And Josh O'Connor is phenomenal in this movie. I think, again, that's the other thing that takes it over the top for me, is I like the people who are assisting Benoit Blanc in the other movies, but this feels like it is his movie more so than it is Blanc's movie, as opposed to the other 2 movies. And that's a big task, because Daniel Craig is so entertaining as Blanc, but he answers the call. And I don't know which performance I like better this year from O'Connor, but he's one of the best that we have right now. And I love this movie.
I love murder mysteries. They're right up there with heist films for me. I really like Knives Out. I will say this was the only movie at TIFF that I continuously tried to see and I could not, so I had to see it on my television, and I'm very upset I did not get to see it on the big screen. And I will also say, outside of Glenn Close, Thomas Hayden Church, and of course Josh O'Connor, I do think this is the ensemble that I like the least overall, though I still like them. But I love this movie. I cannot wait to rewatch it. And yeah, good shit.
Yeah, it was going to be a clear-cut win for me. I love all the Knives Out movies. Again, I've been on record. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do anything special. They just work for me. I don't think it's better. I don't think it's better than the original Knives Out. That's just my personal opinion. I think the first Knives Out is like a brilliant movie. The more I watch it too, the more it goes up for me. I think this one was really smart with how it's done, because I felt like it could get repetitive. He had to find a way, and I think he set it to a perfect times thing. I'm kind of a person. This one hit a little closer to home because I found religion late in life and then kind of got back out of it in the same vein that I got into it because, like, I'm kind of with Scott. It's just it's still the people leading it or whatever is a contradiction at this point. It just seems like, in my opinion, and it doesn't feel like. And that the reason the phone scene works as strongly as it does is because it's the actual breaking point. Like, they're not numbers, they're not members, they're not check boxes, there's not anything. They're people that are looking for outlet, and he realizes at that point in the phone call, oh yeah, I'm still her pastor at this. Like, I'm still a man of the cloth. So, like, yeah, I should listen to this person, like, on the thing. Instead, he was trying to move off the phone because they didn't check, like, a thing. And I think that's why that scene is so powerful, why it resonates. I do like how they end it. I think, one, if anything, it's like, it looks the best. I think his choices that he makes is really smart. I don't love the cast overall. But again, I don't know how you're going to hit every time when you're casting just like the top of the top celebrities. Like, I like the first cast. I like parts of the second cast. This one I feel like was the weakest cast, but it didn't really matter because the thing I think Mila Kunis honestly is not great in this film, and she gets like a strong portion of the film, honestly, of some of the characters. I don't mind her as an actress. Like, it seemed like a weird part overall. Like, she was a member of authority that just couldn't get authority. Like, it's a weird overall choice, in my opinion. I think Glenn Close is really strong. Jeremy Renner, I think there was just a lot of nothing burgers in this. But I do love a guy that wants to listen to the baseball game while service is going on. That's something I can relate to very much so. So go ahead, Thomas and St. George.
And Daryl McCormick was great. He was great in the movie a couple of years ago, but he got like a really big platform in this movie.
You talked enough.
I just want to shout out Daryl McCormick. He's a great actor.
I mean, Glenn Close carrying the Enterprise while she doesn't have a lot of supporting cast. Scott, do you think Jose Ramirez identified to this for this film at all?
Wow.
Potentially. I would say that I also actually like this as the best Knives Out film.
Stray.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I would even argue this is my 11th favorite film of all time, so I'm the biggest fan of this film on this panel currently. Just wasn't in my top 10 this year. Sorry, all my other films are from this year. But no, I really liked it a lot. I think Josh O'Connor's amazing. Nobody said the name Bridget Everett, my goat from Somebody Somewhere, is the woman on the phone in that scene. She's incredible. The fucking best. Cody, you'd love that show, Somebody Somewhere, as a side note. I'll message you about that later. I think the cast is really up and down. Like, you were saying, Mila Kunis kind of doesn't work. She straight up sucks in this movie. And like, her being in scenes with other actors who are really good, like, really puts it in stark contrast. Where it's like,
trying to be nice.
It's almost like, racing with like a Volkswagen. It's like, what is like, get off the road, get that thing off the road, bro. That's how I feel about Mila Kunis in this movie. Some of the other people are like, I could take or leave. I do really like Daryl McCormick in this. I think Andrew Scott is like so horrifically miscast in a way that like I don't even think I can particularly begin to grasp. But Josh O'Connor's incredible and like really special, and he like single-handedly really elevates the movie. I actually don't think Craig is that great in the movie because he doesn't have a ton to kind of like do, because it's not really about Benoit Blanc in a lot of ways. But O'Connor, again, just an absolute beast. Watch Rebuilding if you haven't seen it too. He's great in that. But yeah, overall, like really liked it. Like, kind of in that second tier for me of the year. As far as like favorite movies go, but it is really strong.
Okay, 2 more. I wonder what Paul's number 1 is.
Yeah, cue the Steely Dan. My number 1's One Battle After Another. I think it's just, for me, the movie that has made me feel the most euphoric while watching it and after watching it. I think like, this is such a dumb thing, but I was driving on a road the other day and I was on like a hill and I literally saw like the road go up and I just thought of One Battle After Another immediately. And it's just one of those things that has kind of infected into my brain. I think it's not a movie it's not like a revolutionary political movie because it's not trying to be. And I think that's kind of the mistake that I think some people potentially make with it, is it's a movie about a father and a daughter in a lot of ways, and about like a kind of optimism about what a future can look like if we allow people to exist the way that they should be allowed to exist. And it's movie with obviously like an incredible ensemble. Like I think in particular, like Tiana Taylor and Benicio del Toro are just like absolutely incredible. Leo's work in this movie always kind of goes underrated. I feel like that's kind of his thing in the last few movies he's in, is like he's so good that we're kind of like yeah, yada yada yada. But he is so good and so funny, and all the little small subtle choices. And there's all these moments that I've thought about endlessly. Like saw this multiple times in theaters, and like, you know, it's one of those movies I kind of always have the itch to watch a little bit. Every time I like fire up HBO Max to watch The Pit, I'm like, maybe I should just fire up one battle after another right now. But it's about people coming together in a way too. Like one of the things I love the most is seeing Benicio, like Sensei's character's community, the way they come together, the way the woman kind of hints to Bob, hey, you didn't take your diabetes medication, and all the little stuff like that creates this tapestry of people. And to me, those are what the movie is really about. It's not as much about this central fatherhood, not fatherhood, motherhood, not motherhood stuff, which that gives the movie a lot more depth. But I think like the thing that makes the movie sing is like the community that it ultimately becomes about. And Chase Infinity is like so good on Presumed Innocent, and I was immediately like, she is going to be one of those actors. I did not think it was going to be this soon, but just, I mean, such great use of music, like the chase scene with the hills at the end of the movie, like one of the most exhilarated I've been in the last few years of any scene in any movie. And it's a thorough, full, entire meal, which is the thing I love about the best PTA movies. And I think this is up there for me as one of my favorites, because it is so contemporary while also being about things throughout history, allowing these characters to exist in these kind of scenarios that highlight who they are as people, whether you have the bounty hunter and the way that his behavior changes after these guys talk to him in a certain way, or like, it's just about the fullness of these people's existence as human beings. The Tiana Taylor character, her reading the letter at the end is like so important to me, to bring the entire thing full circle, and to have her presence not felt and then felt again was just, I think, extraordinary. So I think it's a movie that has the surface pleasures of like being so thrilling and entertaining and hilarious, like all the stupid shit Bob is saying and doing, and Comrade Josh and all that stuff, but also having this weight to it. Like I was saying earlier, that like having both sides, the high and the low, are kind of like what movies are about to me. And like, this is a movie that has those things kind of in symphony at the same time in a way that few people, I think, can figure it
out. This was my number 2. And it was entertaining. It was thrilling. It was all the things that everybody is talking about. But while I love entertaining movies, movies I love more are ones you want to talk about later, for the good and the bad. And if you have not seen Van Lathan on the Big Picture podcast talking about this film, please go watch it, because my favorite conversation has been the treatment of Black women in this movie. And the people that do not like this movie, that is the main reason. And I've been loving that discourse, because I have my own like, ooh, shit. Like, in a perfect world, it's human beings being human beings, and they can, whatever race they are, whatever gender they are, they can be flawed. And I love those characters. But also, that's not the reality of shit. Tiana Taylor and Regina Hall, and the women of the Sacred Beaver, and Jungle Pussy, they are done dirty in this fucking film. They are. And I loved it because they were full, real characters, but nobody was, at the same time, the conversations I've had with people about Black women are not looked out for in movies. They are the ones that are on the lowest part of the totem pole in the entirety of this film. Yes, Chase Infinity gets that like grand cathartic thing at the end, but also she is half white, and that's a part of it. That's a part of that conversation. I have loved that conversation I've had with people of digging deep into that on top of all the other shit. And I am on the side of, I love this film. I love what they did with it. I love those kind of conversations that come about of it. And I do not mind these representations, but the fact that other people are not high on this film because of that is also makes it a better movie for me, because it presents stuff that we should be seeing and should be talking about, and Black women should be represented in all aspects of what Black women could be. But because it's not the reality, I understand the criticisms, and it just made me appreciate the film even more.
This was my number 2 as well. I'll be pretty quick. I think that they've covered a lot, and there's so much that could be said about this movie. I just think I appreciate so much that there's a political movie that actually somehow managed to make me feel optimistic. The way that it is kind of the way that the Chase Infinity character is sort of learning from the mistakes of the revolutionaries who came before her. And that final needle drop of American Girl, it works on so many levels for me because that's like the most straight-laced traditional American heartland rock song that there's ever been, and reframing that to talk about a girl who is going out to do some civil disobedience is such a genius move on PTA's part, I think, and radical in its own way to reframe that song. And also the other quick thing I'll add is I was thinking the other day about how they talk in code to the bars from The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, and I was like, if any of the people like Lockjaw or any of them just knew The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, they could have communicated. But then I was like, these white people were never going to know that song, so it's probably there was no risk to that anyway. So kind of in its own way a genius move by PTA on that too.
This was my 9. PTA made a good movie. Another news, Water Wet. It was very good. Very funnier than I thought it was going to be at times. I think like DiCaprio having a total crash out in Benicio del Toro's living room was hysterical. I thought that he did that so well. One of the best gifts of the year coming out of that scene. But I think Sean Penn is probably part of this movie that I liked watching the most. I know I roll when you talk about all the different aspects of it so much. I thought he was really fun to watch as the bad guy. So it's fun to see Sean Penn play a bad guy. He's pretty good at it. So.
No, my only eye roll was like Sean Penn's the greatest before. I think he's good. I just don't think he is groundbreaking at any rate. But that's just my take on this movie. It's my 10 of the year. I think it's really strong. It went down a little bit on me because Payson told me PTA winning the Oscar for Best Director is the equivalent to the Red Sox winning the World Series in 2004, and I thought that was the most dumb take I've ever heard in my absolute life. The guy that doesn't know sports. No, not even close. Not even remotely close. But hey, if he wins, honestly, I don't want him to win just for the fact that Payson's going to cry, and that's really fucking weird to me. But you know what? Hope he wins. Why not? Who knows?
The St. Louis Cardinals as sinners is an interesting, makes you think.
I'll co-sign that. Okay.
Also, just real quick, the last thing I just want to know is the last exchange between them when he says "be safe" and she says "I won't." That is fucking devastating. Yeah, and incredible, and a perfect note to the movie.
All right, last one of the night. Ruth.
Speaking of sinners. If you have not read my article on how this is not From Dusk Till Dawn, but a black version, please fucking go do that because it is not. Because the little bit more research and the more in-depth I went to it, the more I appreciated the hell out of this movie and how it is so much more than just two brothers facing vampires in a twist. This is just blues and music and family and community and culture, and the beginning of the film talks about how music goes is a channel through time and space through conduits like the griots and shit like that in From Dusk Till Dawn. So go kick rocks on that shit. Everything about this film, it's one of those you get out of it and it's automatically an instant fucking classic. It just Ryan Coogler being able to be a black dude from East Oakland geeking out about fucking film reels and then following up with a movie that looks so damn fantastic. The ensemble of the fucking year. Thank God Delroy Lindo got nominated because that scene, that monologue in the car with the sound design and the fact that it was fucking improv to keep going and Michael telling Preacher Boy, you got that guitar too. It's just the more you look into it, the more it's more than a fucking vampire movie. There is no genre for this film. It's a drama, horror, comedy, musical, the Deep South look into just everything. I have never faulted anybody for saying that Michael B. Jordan is charismatic, but his acting skills can be a little Great, best performance he's ever done. The level of detail Ruthie Carter puts into the costume design to make them different, the things that he does to make them different. The first scene of him passing the cigarette made me like, oh, okay, they're definitely twins. And then 2 seconds later, I did not think about the fact that it was the same actor from then on out. Like, absolutely wild how that happened. Omar Benson Miller's best line delivery of the year, to be kind to one another. Just absolutely hilarious. Wumi Masaku is just, Black women are the greatest ever. And she is the epitome of that. One of the most best conversations I hear about is, I am sorry, what is the Asian lady's name in this film, either the actress or the character? I do not know. I am sorry.
Lee Jun Lee is the actress.
Thank you. Her decision, and people are like, what the fuck are you doing? But the reason behind her decision, and then the like moral, like, what are you doing? Are you saving your daughter, or are you saving your people? It's such a great fucking thing. The connections between Irish culture and Black culture, just this movie is everything. This movie will be talked about forever. And I just absolutely love everything about it. There's so much. I feel like I'm missing something I really want to talk about. I don't know, but this fucking shit is fantastic.
It's my number 2. It was my number 1 for most of the year, and I thought it was going to end the year number 1, and then Wake Up Dead Man. I thought Wake Up Dead Man was going to end like 2 or 3, but anyway. I really love the music in it. Rocky Road to Dublin's probably my favorite moment in this movie, because I'm me. I am me. But I love Jack O'Connell in this movie. Not to immediately follow Rue, do like a giant, like a great explanation of why this movie's great, and then have me jump in and be like, but the white guy. But Jack O'Connell's really good in this movie.
He is very good.
He's so menacing, and he is so weirdly charming in every scene. There's like what Michael B. Jordan having that moment where like they're singing "Pick Poor Robin Clean." He's just like, yeah, like just vibing along is great. I think the way he's able to kind of convince people across the movie, and like not like he's necessarily making any great points, but like sometimes he's not making sense. Like it's kind of fascinating, but. I think he's great. His line delivery on Sammy has been like layered into my like real life like friend group. It's like a vocal tick between my family now. Weirdly enough, it's been funny, but perfect movie. Great movie.
Also shout out to the Choctaws saying, yes. Fuck y'all, I'm out of here. Go deal what you need to do.
Fuck you, your problem. It's so good.
Yes, so good.
Somebody else have this? Oh, perfect. Okay. I love when the mic gets past me because y'all get to I get to talk. This isn't Black from Dusk Till Dawn, but it definitely has homages from that. So I just think that's the best. 100%. I think that's the best. If you're gonna downplay it by saying it's the Black version of that, that's stupid. But it definitely pays homage. So now that I've heard your sound point, you're clear on my book. Because it's definitely 100% different than that. I love this movie. It's my 3rd of the year. I had so much fun with it. It lived up to the hype. I was really nervous about that. I think Michael B. Jordan's fantastic in it. I think all the cast of characters in it. My only downside is I don't love the final like shootout battle scene at the end because I think it's very situational and on the nose.
You think they should have been allowed to live? You support their...
Yes. Well, no, if you heard me, you're banned from the fucking out forever. No, I feel like it was just put there situation because it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of the story for me overall. Because like, why would they wait till over when they knew they were all there at night? Yeah. Just point blank, period. But overall, that's my only nitpick because it's the one thing that just drives me crazy. But overall, I loved the combined music scene, like in the middle of the bar. I love how it's the stupidest thing about vampire stuff, but to be invited in, but then it just gets me every time to it. that scene where they finally let the person in the battle, and I just think it's such a smart movie. In a really, this is my best year for watching a recent releases film. I got up to 90 for the first time, like I've never gotten that many in this year. And for this one to watch it early, stick throughout the entire year and have off. I understand One Battle has steam and everything like that. I really wish this would win it. I think it's
Has
really,
a real chance. Has a real chance.
I think it's a really smart movie, and creative. And I hope other directors like take shots like this. Was just an insane shot. I would have, not that I don't think Coogler had this in his bed, but it's just a great choice. Like I just think it was such a smart, and Michael B. Jordan. I've always thought he was a pretty good actor, but this just solidified it for me that he's up there. Paul, Scott, go.
Yeah, I agree with Cody about the only thing that kept it off my list was like that climax. It is number 11. Like legitimately, it is. You can look at my list. It is number 11. I just want to mention the credits scene because I think it's amazing, and it really brings the movie home for me with Buddy Guy and. When they say, I don't remember what the exact line is, but, just them saying it was like the best night ever or whatever, talking about that night when they're thinking back on it, that I just think that sentiment kind of makes the whole movie for me. The fact that even with everything horrible that happened, after the vampires showed up, those moments of joy when they were there and we're listening to the music and just existing as Black people, those were so few and far between at that time that the high of experiencing that is like still what they remember about that night more so than everything awful that happened. That kind of an amazing sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at my Letterboxd best of the year list and you see this above some of the movies I talked about in this show, all I have to say to that is shh. This was originally on my list. I knew we were going to talk about it. You can quibble with that if you want. I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to something else. But I think it's an incredible movie. One of the other aspects about it that did frustrate me a little bit is I think I get why Rue wasn't bothered by this because we've already discussed this, but I think there's a certain level of lack of trust in the audience with the opening narration. I know a lot of that was test screening stuff, but like that, and then when they kind of cut back the voiceover in the middle of that scene that you're talking about, which is like my favorite scene in the movie, like the musical blend scene, but the fact that they cut back to this explanation of the power of his voice, it almost kind of takes me out of what up to that point was so euphoric that like I just have a hard time with that specifically. It's kind of, I hate to have a dumb nitpick on a movie that I loved and I still think is incredible. And like, I actually think the climax is kind of worth it because I think the moment between him and Wumi Masaku's character was amazing enough for me to not care about the kind of unbelievability of maybe some of the rest of it. I think that's such a profound sentiment that kind of undergirds the whole thing. But it's just an incredible genre movie that has all this other stuff behind it. I think Jack O'Connell's character is a great avatar for like the white ally, or that Martin Luther King has talked about before, of the person who like means well, but the thing is he wants to have this for himself. He wants to be a part of a group that he's not really a part of, and like he maybe has some good intentions in some ways because he doesn't want them to feel hurt and pain, at least from his perspective, but he's taking away what makes this thing real. And like that was a really profound sentiment to me. And so ultimately, like in concert with what Scott was talking about, the greatest night of their life, it's sad that it has to be the case because they don't get many nights like that. Like they should just be allowed to do that every other week, every weekend if they want to. But it encapsulates what makes the movie special. And it is really great to have a movie this fun, but have real shit in it too.
Okay, so just like I said before, this is like whose line is it anyways? The points really don't matter. The win really doesn't matter. So, but winner of tonight's episode.
Wow.
Scott,
I was not
Harvey.
expecting that.
I hadn't seen Marty Supreme, but One Battle's in my top 10. Loved Left-Handed Girl. Weapons is in my top 10. Black Bag is in my top 10. Wake Up Dead Man. I loved Cover Up. I enjoyed Mastermind. Overall, I just think he painted it perfect. Oh, this is where it gets really tough on my end. I have to go second is Rue.
Hey, shit. Nice.
Sinners, I don't love Life of, but you also had Train Dreams and Life of Chuck. And I think Paul is just contingent on some things I haven't seen. and he took off Sinners which is still good, but Sinners is up there. So Paul is going to get last tonight, which is kind of weird, but Coho gets second. Actually, no, Coho pissed me off. Paul's third.
Fuck you.
And
I should have put F1 number one
Coho's
just to say fuck you.
best of the best. This is the combined list for this group.
Good list.
Very good list.
Pretty solid list. Overall.
There's one polar bear in Arlington, Texas, but it's fine.
Co-host said this wasn't going to be 3 hours. Well, he was definitely wrong. But overall, thank you all for doing this. This was great. I think this is one of the best shows. You guys had really great conversations. Again, if you want to be on to Best of 2020, send me your list. And then again, the creative directors team is already coming up with other episodes, so who knows what will be down. But YLS seems to be back in 2026, so be excited. So,
Let's go.
Thank you all. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
Your guilt has been determined. This is merely a sentencing hearing. Now what will it be? Death or exile?
You better lawyer up, asshole. Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
So,
Normally, I would say Auf Wiedersehen. But since what Auf Wiedersehen actually means is till I see you again, and since I never wish to see you again, to you, sir, I say goodbye.